Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. My name is Eric.
Hey, I'm family-friendly Mark.
Nope.
Yep.
Never. Never once. Never once have we actually been family-friendly.
But me. Family-friendly Mark is always family-friendly.
Never once. Joining us today is Tim.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, you didn't screw up that bad in the last episode, so it was okay to invite you back.
I'm back from another failed crusade, but I'm calling this one a victory.
Oh,
so
he's armless, that one.
Yeah.
Fucking me. And then Jordan.
Howdy.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm back.
Back from fatherhood.
Yeah. I grew some kids.
Grew some kids out of the house now.
Yeah.
You can join us again.
Exactly.
Finally, yeah.
Yeah.
Stop being such a drain on you. And
Yeah, exactly.
excellent. Before we get into this second portion of our Black Crusade, finishing off what Abaddon started all those millennia ago, let's talk about our Patreon, which will be hereby referred to as the Imperial Tithe.
Oh.
And if you don't pay your tithe,
You know what happens.
you know what happens.
The Mormon Church comes for you and takes it forcefully.
You got to give 10% of your income.
That's
to
right.
Either
And we're-
Mormonism or Lorehammer.
we're-
Your choice.
We're gonna look at your income statements.
Yeah.
So
Up to you who you give it to.
Yeah.
But
it's tax deductible, right? Lorehammer donations.
you know what? You'd be surprised. It actually is not. We're not a charity.
Wait, do you guys have like beautiful women as your missionaries?
We absolutely do not.
Oh. Dang.
They're
This isn't a great deal.
Those are
then.
just demons, Jordan.
Oh, okay.
You see what you want to see, I guess. I don't. But yeah, we have a lot, so I'm just gonna read all our new patrons out. So we have Shane, Kent, Michael, Poliqueg, Ian, Brian, Zrin, Ursatz, Maxim, Andrew, Emil, Sindarin, Corbin, Oceanfire, Lewis, Bobby G and the Three Great Unclean, Hugo,
Yeah.
Thomas, the Shamrock Shake, Monomolecular is Bullshit, Rob, Andrew, Stains by Kings by GFTG,
of course.
Hobby Venturous, John, Mike, FK Minister, and Carotini.
Sweet. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks for contributing.
Yeah, honestly, like a bunch of these people too are doing like some big donations, like $10 a month, and
That's big money.
it goes a long ways, man. We really appreciate it. So yeah, if you want to get involved, check out our Patreon. We're like right on the verge of being able to turn this kind of into like an actual kind of career, which means more content. But in order to do that, we need to get you guys to, fund us. Otherwise, we're gonna have to get a bunch of stupid ads.
Yes, this is better than ads. And
Yeah,
Enough money, Mark will march against the gates of Games Workshop,
I will.
and
I'll
even
fucking
take
do
off-
it for free.
he's gonna.
He'll
make
even
things
take off
right.
his clothes in front of this camera.
Yeah, exactly. I'll
we won't
do what it
we
needs
won't
to be
show
done.
it, but it'll be done.
It's just a little guy. You wouldn't be able to see it anyways. We wouldn't even have to use a blur effect.
We're gonna. Oh,
His self-blurring technology.
his
Family friendly. So
his nether region suffers from the same temporal anomaly as Bigfoot. You just can't get a solid
it.
picture of
Yeah.
it. Okay.
But yeah, thanks to all the patrons.
Thank you, guys.
Please help us out. Join it. Even if everyone just gives $1, it makes such a huge difference.
It makes a big difference, yeah. All right. The next thing on our list is Star Wars.
Oh.
So this is the first time you've been on. This is the first time you've been back on since you started Star Wars.
on a main episode. Yeah, he's
Yeah, I've been on a
bonuses.
couple episodes, but
Yeah.
we Christian, the guy who will never be back on this podcast.
With good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he went off and started his own podcast.
Yeah.
Now we actually have a reason to get rid of him.
Yeah. And I have started the Blasphemous World podcast for a Star Wars podcast. And it's called, aptly named, Star Lores. The Star Lores podcast, you can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. So even if you guys aren't fans of Star Wars and you're fans of us, go rate and review the show.
Yeah.
Give it
It's
a
very
listen.
cool.
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
like about it, it's a very different vibe. Like you guys actually like produce it, put sound effect. So like the couple episodes I listened to, it was
Yeah.
like you had a very scripted first half, and then
Yeah.
you had a more conversation at the end. So you get the best of both worlds of rambling idiots and also like a very like produced, high quality thing on like
Totally.
Lorehammer.
Yeah,
You can
it-
really tell you've put time into as opposed to just
An effort, planning.
Yeah.
The real question is, will Christian be back on that podcast?
Probably not. That will
You're
be the
already
last.
making some host changes.
Failed you for the last time.
Yeah, no, it's kind of cool. It's kind of just experimenting with doing a bit of a different format. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's more scripted. Maybe like more production is put into it. It takes a long time, so we're doing it in like seasons, as opposed to like a very regular release date. We're doing 12 episode seasons, and then we're taking a break to produce our next batch of episodes. Because it takes a lot of hours to make the episodes that we're making, so it won't be as like the same consistency. But if you subscribe, it'll pop up again when the new season comes out. But we're just about done our first season, so
nice.
the last episode comes out tomorrow.
Cool.
Very cool.
So,
Sweet.
Yeah, so go check that
yeah.
out. Star Lores podcast.
the Star Lords podcast. Yeah, we're on social media, any platform you listen, you can find us.
Cool.
Yeah.
Will I ever be on that
No.
one? Son of a bitch!
No. You're not allowed.
Fine. I'm just gonna go start my own podcast called Lore of the Rings. Huh? What are you gonna do about that?
Did you
All
talk,
right,
did you
girls.
talk to Christian about that?
Christian's been trying to make me do stuff for years.
I'm going to start my own called The Lore of Time. That one doesn't really work.
Well, at least Tim can be with me still on the Lord of
Yeah.
the Rings.
I'll get Peter on
well.
mine for the Wheel of Time.
We're all fishing
It's
from the
all
same
just-
pond here.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take mine. And
You're gearing up. You're getting ready.
I'm getting ready. Fired up now.
All right, we're almost into the main content.
Almost.
One
We got
more
one
little
more
point.
thing. Yeah.
On our last episode, we talked about the Liber Malefact project, and basically we're building an entire company of Space Marines. So a couple days ago, we opened up the first campaign, which included 40 Space Marines, and I think we're up to like 30 sold out now.
Wow, that's pretty
So-
sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, get on it. Like, this episode would be coming out in a couple days, so they might be sold out by the time you listen to it, but go hop on, check it out, get involved. I tried to keep the prices as low as possible, but at the same time, think of it as a way to also help Lorehammer and not just like as you're just buying this. Think of it as you're also helping up the Lorehammer content by providing us money to do more
They're
things.
joining history, becoming canon in the 40K universe.
Yes.
How
So-
come a Rhino driver? I was looking at the sheet, and
Yeah.
why would a Rhino driver be like valued more than a sergeant or other people?
Oh yeah, just so the way I did all the pricings is like I
Oh,
did
because the model
base-
is like more.
Yeah.
Okay. Got
tanks
it.
cost more. But the perk of getting a tank is you get
That's
a tank
true, yeah.
and 2 pilots.
Yeah.
A pilot and a gunner, so you can write 3 backstories for it. So yeah, get involved. Go check that out. I'm super excited. I think I'm gonna go buy a bunch of models today here, and yeah, it's gonna be sweet.
Sweet.
Yeah, it'll be good.
I think we're ready to move on with our lives.
All right, are we? Let's pitter patter. Let's get at her. So, this episode is all about finishing off Abaddon's Black Crusades. We did 1 to 11 last episode,
Yeah.
and today we're gonna finish off with 12th and 13th. If you haven't listened to that previous episode, if you're starting right now, definitely go back.
It's essential.
Yeah, go listen to those. If for some reason you still are going to not listen to that sage advice, we
God
can't
help you.
We can't
It's-
control. We can't save your soul
No.
at that point. It's
Lost.
beyond redemption. But just in case, we're gonna do a quick recap of the previous Black Crusades. Previously on the Black Crusades, Abaddon was Horus's right man. Right hand.
Right man.
It was the right man for the job. It was his right hand
Which he
man.
was, yeah.
After the heresy and Horus's death, Abaddon consolidated power and vowed vengeance on the Imperium. He is the War Master of Chaos.
The Black Crusades were real space invasions led by Abaddon, and the majority of which were extremely successful.
Yeah, so
I
we're
think
gonna
there was only one that was like, well, okay, 2,
Yeah.
maybe 2.
2 max.
Yeah.
That he did not like very obviously achieve his objective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Whether the Imperium was aware of it is a different story.
well, everything
but-
is an Imperial victory.
yes, yes.
Right now, of course.
We only
naturally.
lost 10 trillion soldiers this
Yeah.
day.
Abaddon only turned 30 planets into
We had
dead planets.
30 trillion souls, so
Yeah.
victory.
So, through the course of his crusades, Abaddon solidified himself as the War Master of Chaos by acquiring Dracnian. He gained the favor of all 4 Chaos gods while still maintaining his independence, in air quotes.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He set fire to segmentums and systems around the Eye of Terror, claimed many artifacts and destroyed many holy sites and ancient relics. And all of this was part of his 10,000-year long war to bring about the end of the Imperium, completing what had begun all those millennia ago.
So, that was basically the summary of the 1st to the 11th. So, let's hop into the 12th Black Crusade,
Yes.
the Gothic War. So, 1800 years after Abaddon's waylaid 11th Black Crusade, because on that one he ended up
Yeah, he had like,
binding a demon to his,
a
his ship.
demon who would then go insane. And instead of plotting a safe course out of the Eye of Terror, which was his plan, it scattered the entire 11th Crusade across the galaxy.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
So that was one of his like fails.
That
but
was
at
one
the
of his
end of the
fails.
day, like it wasn't really a failure. Like
Sure,
he
yeah.
still fucked up some planets. Like
Yeah, messed with some orcs and stuff.
yeah. So 1800 years after, he launches the Gothic War, his 11th Black Crusade. There had been a build up to this crusade with increased frequency of raids from the Eye of Terror, and the formation of chaotic cults springing up through the sector. The culmination of this activity was the warp storm that engulfed the entire Gothic sector and signaled to Abaddon that the time was ripe. In M41-143, the Gothic War began.
Yes.
Yeah, so this entire sector gets blocked off by warp storms. And then he's like, without them being able to get reinforcements, now's the time to strike.
Yeah. The perfect time to strike. The
perfect
some
time.
would say.
He knows.
Yeah. So it started with Chaos Forces raiding Imperial naval bases, Forge Worlds, other Imperial assets, and they used the cover of the warp storms to their advantage. Because of this interference, the Imperium presence in the Gothic Center could not call for reinforcements and even had little to no warning of the coming army. Many Imperial outposts and orbital stations were lost in this initial attack. Yeah.
The only one planet could claim any sort of victory in this brutal onslaught, Aurar. Having just put down one of the many rebellions plaguing the sector, they were already on high alert, and so were able to adequately defend themselves, and even destroy nearly all of their chaos attackers. They also had like an entire chapter on that planet too, so that always helps.
Helps
yeah.
having Space Marines.
Do you think that because like so much time passes sometimes in between crusades that people just forget that?
Well, we
Abaddon's
were talking
even a
about
thing?
that.
Yeah.
Like,
How are they not all on high alert if you live around like the Eye of Terror?
But then after 2,000 years, you're kind
Yeah.
of like, are they ever coming back?
well, like that's
100
Like,
years, you're still on
imagine-
high alert.
Yeah,
200.
imagine the last person to have seen like lived through one of these crusades was at the year 0, right? For us, like we would, it's myth, right? What did it really happen? Was it
Right.
as bad as you say?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, we haven't seen them in so long. Obviously, they've disappeared and all died out, but
Yeah.
that's just nope.
Yeah, even like Space Marines aren't around still. Like even
Yeah, there's no
Wow.
single
There's-
Space Marine from the 11th that is alive during the 12th.
Yeah, so even like the only people that might be alive is you might get the odd dreadnought that might still be kicking about, but even that would be pretty fucking rare.
It'd be insane.
That's crazy.
So
Wow.
yeah, so that's why they went all just be on high alert, because it's like eventually, you know.
Yeah, eventually it just fades,
Yeah.
right? And like what happened, like even the memory of World War One for like us is
I
fading.
will never forget World War One.
I'm just saying, like,
You were right there in the trenches.
Yeah.
isn't there only like a couple people who are still alive that even
think so.
lived through it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then imagine,
I don't even know. Like they're saying that all the World War II vets are
Are they?
dying now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
There would still be a couple from World War One.
yeah.
yeah, but
They gotta be
even
like
still,
100
and
even
what?
that,
Yeah.
just imagine another 17 100 years in the future. Like, how are we really
Yeah.
going to remember that?
True.
So, yeah, it's just kind of crazy how much time.
Time always fucks with me with 40K. Every time I read any number, just...
It's like, what do the people actually think? Like, to them, this isn't the 12th Black Crusade. This is just war.
Sure.
Right? Like, they don't know. Even though the Crusade was spread throughout the entire Gothic sector, it soon became obvious that Forge Worlds holding ancient Blackstone fortresses were the real targets. The first to be captured was within the Rebo system, and it was captured after its power mysteriously shut down.
I like the whole setup in this 12th Crusade because it's very like it's like a horror movie. Like the lights start to flicker, you know, you start to hear noises, but like on a galactic scale, you know, like imagine you're at like a comm station and then like, you know, you're hearing Jordan talk and then suddenly you hear him scream on the other end, and then like and then you're in another station and then that goes out, and it's like very, you know, there's an encroaching evil.
Did you ever listen to the Echo of Satellite 66B?
Oh yeah,
That was Collins.
Yeah, it was the cold open stories.
I
I
listened
didn't
to that.
know. No,
it's good.
Yeah,
It's good.
It's very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Out of all of them, it's probably my favorite one that he's done.
Yeah.
But it's very horror-esque.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Like Alone in Space vibe.
It's very well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
nice.
But it gives me
Similar.
the feeling that you're talking about. Right?
Yeah. Ominous.
How long did it take him to make that?
That was like one of his first
2 to
ones.
3 hours tops,
Yeah,
I
that one
think.
was very quick.
That's it.
20
Yeah.
minutes, maybe.
There's not nearly as much in that one as there is in all his other
Okay.
ones. Yeah. Okay. Little side note.
An even greater blow to the Imperium's morale than losing a Blackstone fortress was the destruction of Savavan.
Savavins.
Savavin.
A cardinal world. It was there that Abaddon revealed a new weapon of terrifying proportions.
Yes.
He had previously found a half-constructed vessel within an ancient shipyard in the Eye of Terror, over 2,000 years before. During the aftermath of his 10th Black Crusade.
It wasn't a Death Star, was it?
You know what? It might not look like a Death Star, but it does the same thing as a Death Star.
Yeah.
I love that though. Like, there's just some ancient shipyard floating around in the Eye of Terror, and that just shows how big the Eye of Terror is. Like,
Yeah. Oh, it's
where did this
massive.
shipyard come from?
Yeah.
Who half built this? Of course, it's half built. You know, like any planet-killing weapon.
Yeah. Fully functional and operational battle station.
This is your second out of 40K universe quote. Please stop encroaching on
No, that was
Lord
Abaddon,
of the Rings
right?
and Star Lord's territory.
apologize.
Otherwise, there will be lawsuits.
Copyrighted territory.
Cease and desist. Cease and desist.
You can stick to Lore of the Wheel or Lore of Time or whatever nonsense.
It doesn't work.
Game of lore.
Yeah.
So this ship he found was dubbed the Planet Killer, this warship, and its main gun, Armageddon, was able to annihilate a planet completely. And so the death of 14 billion Imperial citizens took a heavy toll on the Imperium. When the other Imperial worlds heard of the destruction caused by the Planet Killer, they chose to surrender themselves to the forces of chaos instead of being destroyed.
So apparently, it's like a big deal to actually completely destroy a planet.
Yeah.
Like, while Exterminatus itself is known of, and I would say even well known among the Imperial Navy.
Well known, but still rare to
Yes.
actually happen.
Yeah.
Like,
but
how many of them can actually like blast down to the core and
Exactly,
completely like pull apart the planet?
Exterminatus is much more about scouring the surface of the planet and turning it into a dead world, as opposed to turning it into an asteroid belt.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So something with the actual ability to break a planet apart is, according to like the literature we read, it's extremely devastating.
Yeah.
Much
Yeah, because
scarier.
most are like they either virus bomb it and it just eats all life, or they just crack the planet's surface and then it turns into like a volcanic
wasteland. But
you
with
know?
enough preparedness, you could conceivably say that an Exterminatus is livable through.
Sure, yeah.
Are you going to do it? No, never. Is a Space Marine chapter conceivably going to survive through an Exterminatus? Maybe a couple of them.
Yeah.
Right? But like, you cannot survive
the planet killer.
The planet killer. That's
And
like
Armageddon.
an Armageddon.
gun.
Yeah.
I always just love like somebody had to clearly ask Abaddon what he wanted to call this ship. He's like,
Name it the Planet Killer, for it kills planets. What's its gun called? It brings the end of worlds. It will be called Armageddon.
exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So obviously Imperium
That's bad
citizens hear about this.
Yeah.
12 billion souls die, and lots of planets just surrender instead of meeting the fate.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like, there are many planets that didn't even require them to take, right? Like, chaos forces are already spread thin, and it's like there's no resistance on planets, so they just go away and do what they need to and then just leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, further troubles that the Imperium faced at this time were raids from Eldar Corsairs, random attacks from Orc pirates or freebooters, as well as the rise of human pirates within the sector. So everyone is just kind of taking advantage of the chaos that's happening.
Yeah.
happening.
And the one thing to remember too still is the whole sector is blocked off by warp storms. So
Yep.
everyone's like, now's the time. Like, we know they can't deal with all of us. So
Yeah, let's carve out a little piece
yeah.
of our own.
Piece of space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because with warp
Yeah.
storms too, this could be reality for them for the next 80,000 years. They have no idea. Warp storms sometimes fade or they last for...
Or like they're the Eye of Terror and they last forever.
yeah, so like this... Yeah, so they're all just kind of trapped in this like space of area.
Yeah.
So while that's bad, just when the Imperium thought it couldn't get any worse, Abaddon captured another Blackstone fortress at the Adeptus Mechanicus facility within the Lucatar system. Once this ship was within his grasp, he turned his attention to Phalaris II, where his third Blackstone fortress awaited him.
Yeah.
In the galaxy, how many Blackstone fortresses are there? There's like
6.
only 6?
Yeah. Only 6 that they've found.
6 known. There could be more.
There
There could be more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think there are, though. And you'll see why at the end
Yeah.
of this
I
episode.
can agree with that.
So he goes, he's looking at Phalaris too. So Abaddon brought his 2 Blackstone fortresses, and when they had linked their energies between them, he fired a beam of pure immaterium upon the planet. This shaft of warp energy scoured the planet of all life. With no one alive to contest him, Abaddon claimed his 3rd Blackstone fortress.
Crazy.
Yeah. So these are just Blackstone fortresses are crazy things. There's a lot of lore on them.
There's so much, especially with the introduction of their game, the Blackstone Fortress. So we can't get into everything that Blackstone is in this episode.
Yeah, but we do know a couple things that Abaddon was able to master.
Yeah.
And harness the hidden potential that even the Imperium wasn't aware. So the Imperium held these-
Admech, Imperium, Eldar, Necron. Like, these things have changed hands many times over their life because they've existed forever.
I think their date was 60,000 to
300,000 potential years old. Yeah.
But
So-
no one's been able to like.
Exactly. No one's been
Operate
able to
them
use
and-
them the way that Abaddon did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So here's the things that we know
Yeah.
about Blackstone fortresses.
So yeah, they were created by unknown Xenos, a race long since dead. And while much is known, even more is speculated. There are a couple key features. So they are massive spacecraft, often used as battle stations for entire fleets to dock on.
Yeah.
So like people will find these and then they start like building on their own weapon emplacements and like adding stuff to it, and then turn it into like their own shipyard. So that's what the Imperium was using them for. Just docking ports, shipyards, and defense stations.
Yeah. Because they were
Which is
just
kind of funny because they're so anti-Xenos tech, and then
It
they're
is
on
a little
some giant
odd, yeah.
Xenos battle station.
But it's not confirmed it's Xenos. They can get away with it. But it might be Xenos. We don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
very true, very true.
their morals are very convenient. Their beliefs sometimes.
Those drones that come in the Black Fortress,
yeah.
Blackstone Fortress box set, are those drones like on the fortress?
Yeah. They're like its defenders and
Okay.
stuff. Those Sentinel drones, I think they're called.
So they live
Spindle drones.
on the fortress.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
But
Random.
like when the Imperium got the fortress, they cleared
Eradicate.
them out. Yeah.
So these fortresses are able to fire blasts of pure warp energy, which the power of can be increased by linking multiple fortresses together, and they just make like a converging beam.
Yeah.
Once they do fire this beam, they require a certain amount of time to recharge before they can fire it again.
Yeah.
It's unknown exactly what that time frame is, but enough that they are...
it's a once per battle type thing.
Yeah. And like once after they fire it, they're kind of like... Bleh.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh shit, like protect these because they're indefensible. Like, yeah.
So this feature, Abaddon was actually the one who discovered it.
Yeah.
So Blackstone fortresses require them to be activated. So in their inactive state, they're kind of just like a floating spaceport, you know. But then once you activate them, then they like open up. They reveal this like warp firing beam gun.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It is, it fires pure warp energy is what it says.
And like, can any other weapon fire pure warp?
Nothing.
No.
Nothing has
People
ever...
use warp energy, but
Yeah.
can actually use immaterium directly as like a...
Yeah.
It's supposed to be very unique, this thing.
Yeah.
It surpasses void shields, this weapon,
Yeah.
which is nothing goes through void shields.
Yeah, there are other things that like harness warp energy, like Warlord Titans. They have a psychic pilot who like harnesses his psychic energy through a gun, but it's still like it's a little different than like
even like
pure
psi
warp.
cannons and silencer weapons that Grey Knights
Exactly.
use.
Like there's lots of like things that harness warp energy.
Yeah, but to
it's-
fire a beam of warp energy.
yeah, like a direct like actual.
Yeah, a lot of those things are just like warp sensitive. Like there's still like charges and lasers and bolts or whatever, and they're just like charged with warp energy. Where this is just like a shaft.
Wow.
Yeah, of warp energy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So the other crazy thing about these is they are actually capable of warp travel, even though they do not use any propulsion system to any of the other known races.
Yeah.
Like, they
So
just-
no one can figure out how they move because they've never moved.
Yeah.
Before
Abaddon
Abaddon,
got
because they
them.
were all just stationary
Yeah.
stations.
Wow.
So, yeah, so Abaddon's seen the potential, he figured out the mystery, and he's now captured 3 of these.
3 of these devastating weapons.
Yeah.
So within one short year of the start of this 12th Black Crusade, Abaddon's lightning strikes saw the entire Gothic sector ravaged by war. Under assault from his Chaos Raids, the threat of the Planet Killer, assaulted by Eldar Corsairs, Orc Pirates, and Human Pirates, and now the Blackstone Fortresses.
Crazy.
So it's a bad time.
No reinforcements.
No
to come.
reinforcements, yeah.
If Chaos had been free to fight their war against the Imperium, that could call for no reinforcements, this crusade would have been swift and terrible. This is evidenced by the fact that in 147 M41, so 4
years after it began.
the entire Lassides subsector was under Chaos control.
Yeah, it helped that all these planets, like probably 90% of these planets, are just surrendering.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to deal with the planet killer.
Yeah, and then Blackstone fortresses.
Exactly, yeah. Like, oh, they can actually leave the planet intact and just kill all life on the planet.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But the orcs were growing in number, as they are wont to do.
Well, when there's so much fighting to be
Yeah.
had, you know? They can't avoid a good party.
And they began to threaten Chaos fleets, forcing them to ignore their Imperium targets for a time. This temporary respite allowed the Imperium forces to focus their attention on the Eldar and Human pirates. And
Yeah.
at the attack on Pirates Haven, Fleet Admiral Morndark
Morndark, yeah.
dealt such a blow to the pirates as to allow Lord Admiral Ravensburg to focus completely on the Chaos threat.
Yeah. So we haven't mentioned yet, but Lord Admiral Ravensburg is responsible for the entire Gothic sector,
Yeah.
which is huge.
Yeah. And up until this point, he's kind of just been running around trying to...
Salvage whatever he can,
Yeah.
but it's the Chaos Fleet's too spread out. He can't call for reinforcements. There's too much warp interference, and they're beset on all sides. Like he had no chance.
You can only do so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, orcs get in the way, start fighting Chaos. Ravensburg is allowed to actually go deal with some of the pirates, deal with some of these threats.
Yeah. He knocks out like the biggest pirate threats, and then he's like, okay, now I feel comfortable. I got enough breathing room. Now I can focus on Chaos. Yeah. So the overall Chaos fleet was much, much larger than the Imperial fleet. However, it was spread
Spread across.
It was spread out across the sector.
Yeah.
So this allowed Lord Admiral Ravensburg to consolidate his army into one massive fleet capable of crushing any small resistance they would engage.
Yeah.
But with the Chaos fleets.
Yeah.
So this he's pulling away defenses from everything else and saying, look, I can't engage you on every single front. So he's like, I gotta give up some stuff in order to be able to crush whatever it is I meet.
Yeah.
And hopefully he like gets enough big targets that the rest of Chaos just scatters.
Yeah.
Because they are known to do that. Like cut off the head and everything falls apart with Chaos.
It's a scary thing when even the Imperium's like, we're outnumbered. we don't have enough men. It's not a good thing.
The one thing we're known for.
Yeah. I guess 240K, like the fleet size would make the difference too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially
How many
when
ships can you bring to bear?
Yeah.
Right? What kind of guns are we talking? Like, you could have 1 million small guns, but if you can't overload a void shield, whatever.
Yeah, and especially when it's a Chaos versus Imperium fight where they're using the exact same technology. Like maybe Chaos have a little warp amplified abilities and stuff on their ships, but they're still firing like their cyclone torpedoes. They're still using their lance batteries or laser batteries or whatever they call
Macro
them.
cannons that they have.
So it's still like in a one-on-one, they're pretty much going to be matched. So
yeah. In the Talon of Horus, they're talking about like how valuable fleet ships are, and like so valuable that they would rather just have the two like warband leaders duke it out and one of them die, and then the winner will just take control of the ship, because there's like for how many slaves are on the ship and how many people it takes to run a ship. It's just like it's no point in even destroying it. You might as well just like settle your differences and then hand it over. You know, like life's not going to be any more better with the other guy. So, but they're just incredibly valuable.
That's cool.
Yeah. So when like during the Gothic or this war, like when one ship goes, it's just like
it's
crazy.
A big blow.
It's a huge blow.
Yeah. So if you have 5 ships and you see 20 jump into your sector,
you're like,
okay, all right, Johnny.
So Ravensburg cleansing of the Gothic system came to a head when he finally engaged Abaddon's forces on the fringes of the Gethsemane system. With the Imperium fleet far outgunning the Chaos fleet, Abaddon called a tactical withdrawal.
Yeah, so this is like he consolidated everything, he's cleaning up, and he finally reaches like a decent sized Chaos force. Yeah. And Abaddon's like, don't engage, it's way too big, just run away. But seeing an opportunity, the Eldar Corsairs struck the Chaos fleet from the rear, trapping them in between the Imperium fleet and themselves. So the Chaos fleet is completely destroyed. And it's at this point that like the tides of fate change. You know, not only is this the first major victory for Lord Admiral Ravensburg and the Imperial Navy, but the warp storms actually begin to slow down and abate. And neighboring systems can finally reinforce like the beleaguered Imperial fleets, right? Like they're so desperate, and finally that's calm enough for them to jump into systems.
Do you think
the sector.
The Imperial fleet would try to go through the warp storm during like this conflict just to aid them, or are they going to wait? Like, because that would be nuts.
I always assume that like if you need to, like, someone jumps and then like, shit, that ship didn't make it. These warp storms must be crazy. Like, I always assume that's how it happens. Like, you want to find out how crazy the warp storms really are. Jump in and find out, right? Like, try and make it. Right?
Yeah, and like the warp, I feel like that's tactically their best strategy is using the warp storms basically to
isolate the Imperium so they can't bring their full bear.
Yeah, and without those, it's like, what do they really have?
Not much.
So just on the topic of jumping through, like, we know that the Imperium does send ships into the Eye of Terror directly to like scout out and see what's happening. So chances are good they're also going to be jumping through, trying to get places and
So with the arrival, so the reinforcements that the Gothic sector actually received were Adeptus Astartes, was like a large portion of their reinforcements. And the alliance, so with the arrival of the Adeptus Astartes and the alliance of convenience with the Eldar forces, the Imperium could finally go on the offensive. And there's no mention of like a war council between the Imperium and Eldar. It was more just like Eldar are like, shit, like we should probably also kill Chaos.
Yeah, because up until that point, they still were trapped in this sector.
Yeah, the Eldar can't leave either,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so yeah, they're just like, well, you know, it's better to fight Chaos than the Imperium, I guess.
But then all the
Yeah.
warp storm stop. So Abaddon, frustrated with this defeat and unwilling to surrender his hard-fought victory, dealt an astonishing blow to the Imperium. With his 3 Blackstone fortresses in tow, he made his way to the Tyrannitus system on the edge of the Gothic sector. It was a staging ground for Imperial reinforcements and therefore heavily guarded and tactically important.
Yeah, it's apparently where a lot of the reinforcements from outside the Gothic sector actually come through. They all make a stop in the Tyrantus system before they come into the Gothic sector. Yeah.
Just a stable webway or
Stable warp. Yeah,
route.
maybe. Maybe. That's my guess anyway.
Yeah.
So he fires upon the Tyrantus star itself with the Blackstones and then just pieces out, just yeets away, you know? For a full month, the star rages, spilling radiation and death across millions and billions of miles. At the end of the 4 weeks, the star goes supernova, and it engulfed the entire system, destroying it completely.
That's how you do it.
So
How do you do it?
Yeah.
before he's like, planet killer, I got a planet killer, and he's like, no,
Now.
I destroy star systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would you go for the planet if you could just go for the star at that
Yeah.
point? you
So
know?
This is special because
Yeah.
it used the warp energy to cause the star to go supernova.
and the first planet he blew up, he didn't have 3 Blackstone
He didn't have
fortresses.
3.
Okay.
And like the way the Blackstones work is like 1 might be able to just destroy half a planet, 2 can destroy a
they
planet,
get stronger.
3 can destroy a star.
yeah, 4 can destroy
Booster packs.
racism.
Call it a star killer.
So thousands of billions more were added to this death toll. It's a lot because it's also a very
Trillions.
important system, right? Like,
Yeah.
So it's heavily defended, heavily fortified.
And I don't think he can really go into this system very much anymore because it's so radiated now
Yeah,
from the sun.
probably.
Like maybe now you can go back in, but like for a month, you could-
Definitely for the duration of this
Yeah.
battle, like no one could go
yeah,
into
for a
the
month,
system.
like you couldn't go into it without taking serious radiation, like.
And then you didn't want to
damage.
be around when it went supernova.
No, you do
so.
not.
So sent reeling by this defeat, the Imperial and Eldar forces were convinced that Abaddon would not leave the sector peacefully, and had reason to believe that Abaddon would attempt to capture the remaining 3 Blackstones. So seeing that his new course would lead him straight to Schindelgeist, another system, the Eldar and Imperial fleet used ancient warp gates to arrive there first. I wonder if they mean dolmen gates. Or webway. I don't know. It doesn't.
There are
specify.
actual like warp gates. Like
Yeah, like
I
there's
think it was
the
the
Cathonia.
webway.
There's like the gates in like even in our soul system. There's gates.
no, like they also have like actual like built gates, like actual. Fuck, I wish I remembered what it was called.
dolmen.
No.
Dolmen gates.
Well, yes, those are a thing, but those are like Necron things specifically. Keep talking. I'll find it.
All right. Gates.
Like Eldar constructed gates.
Not even
That's what
Eldar
you're talking
ones.
about? No,
No.
What is going on?
just rifts in space.
No, not even.
No,
Rifts.
he's talking
Okay.
about
Oh,
the
an actual-
Imperium built massive gates.
So yeah, like I'll pull up an image here.
So they used. Okay, so the Imperium forces.
Whoa,
where it's like
cool.
actually like something built and like they have like here's
I like
another
that
image.
half moon shape. It's
Yeah,
like
where it's like actually like a built gate.
It's like a Stargate.
It just
almost.
Yeah,
it just
exactly,
doesn't look
that would-
Imperium.
Yeah, it's not Imperium.
Oh,
it's
okay.
ancient relics,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
what he
also
said.
not Eldar.
It's
these-
like
these-
before then.
Yeah, this is not like a webway portal. So here's some more pictures. You guys want to see some more pictures? There's some more pictures. What do you guys think of this picture?
All right. Okay.
oh yeah, I love
So-
that resolution.
Thanks, Google.
The Imperial fleet and Eldar fleet arrives at the Schindelgeist
Crazy.
system 5 days before Abaddon.
Yeah.
And they use this time to set a trap for Abaddon's forces. When the Chaos fleet did arrive, they were outnumbered and caught completely off guard. So this battle would last for 3 days of heavy fighting and engagements. After horrendous casualties, Abaddon finally forced his way through the Imperial blockade with his Blackstones, and once again took aim at the star of the Shindogeist system.
Son of a bitch.
He's a one-trick pony.
He's got 2 tricks.
He's got 2. Yeah.
He's got Black
2 big
Crusades and
tricks.
blowing up stars.
As the fortresses powered up to destroy the star, the battlecruiser Flame of Purity was the only Imperial ship close enough to do anything. Poor guy.
Poor guy.
I find this is like a very common Imperial tactic where they'll just ram a ship, which is like a pretty big projectile, you know, like
Kilometers long.
yeah,
Going how fast? Right?
yeah. In Talon of Horus, the Psyker, Kalon, he dragged his ship through, I believe they were traveling through the warp, he psychically dragged it and used it as a spear and launched it into an Emperor's Children, like, super fortress or something.
Is that one of the Ezekarians? That's one of, like, Abaddon's, generals?
Yeah. But he, like, it took
Jeez,
him
they're
months, and he was
powerful.
just, like, in a trance, dragging his ship
jeez.
as a spear, and then when they exited, it just, like, shot right into the... It was nuts.
wild.
Just using it as a big, you know...
Yeah, like, because even when you look at
projectile.
the way, like...
They look like they have, like, boarding prows on
Yeah,
them.
you could ram.
Yeah, they
I feel like, also in 40K, I feel like there would be a lot of, like,
having a picture, so-
possibly ship-on-ship carnage, you know? Like, with all of their spiky bits and stuff just ramming into each other.
For sure.
I don't have any good pictures of, like, their prow,
did,
but they're-
you did.
They're very known for it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can see, like, they're heavily armored in the front, so they
And
can...
weighted, it
To
looks
ram.
like,
Yeah.
So,
Crazy.
finding its firepower, and we're back talking about the Flame of Purity, was useless against the behemoths,
Makes
the
sense.
Blackstones. Yeah, the Voidcraft instead sacrificed itself by flying into the converging beams of the fortresses. So Captain Abradal and the Flame of Purity, while vaporized instantly, had expended the energy of the Blackstone fortresses, and it would be some time before they were ready to fire again.
Yeah.
So they essentially saved that entire system by killing themselves.
Yeah.
He
'Cause
pulled
can't destroy the star now.
a fin from Last Jedi. He impossibly flew into the beam, which should have, I believe, vaporized him. Sorry, we're sidetracked here. It's a presence for Jordan.
More Star Wars.
Slowly converted into Star Wars.
Yeah.
Also, a good visual
Everyone listen
of,
to Star Wars.
yeah, a good visual of the way these guns shoot is a Death Star where they have the lasers that converge into the one point. So if you fly into that one point,
Yeah.
go check out the Star Wars podcast if you fly into that point.
Yeah.
My God. So Abaddon's defeat was laid out in front of him now, and he could do nothing more than escape into the warp. So hasty was his retreat that he was even forced to leave behind one of the Blackstones. Whether this was intentional on the War Master's part or was a necessity, we don't really know. We can just speculate and guess.
And I will.
Yeah, of course we will. When the Left Behind Fortress was boarded by the Angels of Redemption Space Marines chapter, there were no signs of life, and the Marines barely escaped with their lives before the fortress began to crumble and shatter into thousands, probably millions of pieces.
Dare I say billions?
You dare.
Dare.
You dare.
Across the Gothic sector, the remaining 3 Blackstone fortresses that were in the Imperium's control also self-destructed or met that same similar crumbling fate.
Yeah.
It was unknown if Abaddon's 2 had met the same fate.
Yeah, because at this point, he's already gone through the warp.
Yeah.
So they don't know if he's here.
So the other four crumbled.
Yeah. So then if there had
Shattered,
been more...
dare we say.
Yeah, we do dare. If there had been more throughout the galaxy, the general consensus agreed upon
They're
thought
gone.
is they would have done the
Now-
same thing.
Now,
Wow.
I just remembered, so that Blackstone Fortress game that came out, that is the 7th Blackstone Fortress.
Is it the 7th?
Yeah. So,
Ah.
so I like to think
Well.
that Abaddon left one behind, somehow programmed it so that every other Blackstone,
within a certain radius.
yeah, met this crumbling fate or whatever. Or it's also possible that somehow, if they're all not within a certain vicinity of each other, some disintegrate, or who knows how that actually works.
So that is the 7th one, hey?
Yeah. So there could be more.
So yeah,
but-
we have proof that there's more now.
But maybe there's only 7.
Maybe.
Maybe there's 14.
Maybe there's a million.
Well, dare I say a billion?
We dare. This is the podcast where we dare.
Are you guys going to talk about the artifacts that pilot these things? Oh, that's that later in the 13th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
those aren't super mentioned in the 12th.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only in the 13th.
Yeah. So that's the Eye of Night and the
Hand of Darkness.
Yeah.
Relics. Ancient relics.
Yeah. So, though victory was achieved for the Imperium that day, it would be many years before the Chaos Taint was scoured from the sector completely. The Gothic War was claimed as a victory by the Imperium.
Of course.
Yeah, naturally, yeah. In 163 M41, with Lord Admiral Ravensburg given the highest honor of being able to continue his service in the Imperium.
Good.
So there's a quote from him, actually, and it's like, "Thank the Emperor. I have done my duty."
I can do my duty.
Something like that. He's just so happy that he's allowed to continue serving.
Yeah.
So the Imperial losses, while a victory, were trillions...
Simple life, yeah.
Trillions of citizens and 6 Blackstone fortresses.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big loss.
Wow.
Yeah.
Potentially hundreds of worlds.
It's going to set you back a few bucks.
Yeah.
But when you got that ecclesiarchy money, it's fine.
Farming from people.
Your tithe would be hurting, though, after losing $1,000 signs.
That or did, when people die, do all their all their wealth now go to the ecclesiarchy?
Well, not only that, but now the Imperium's food stock has just jumped dramatically.
Yeah, now the ecclesiarchy can double.
Yeah, all the corpse dust.
In everyone's will, everything is bequeathed to the Emperor. Yeah.
Yeah,
really?
you're not allowed.
No.
But you're not allowed like a real will. You're like anytime you go to a lawyer and you're like, it's time to get a will. They just hand you a paper that says, "I give all my possessions back to he who provided them to me." Yeah, and you just sign, and that's it.
It's a 100% inheritance tax.
That's right. No. You're just giving back. They weren't yours to begin with. Everything that you own is technically the Emperor's to begin with.
One of my favorite stories in 40K is it's called "Rocks Are Not Free, Citizen," and basically it talks about how this Imperial fleet is wasting the Imperium's resources when there's a much quicker way to do it, and it's just like they're giving like a bunch of made up numbers, like you wasted 7 trillion gallons of the Emperor's precious promethium and blah blah blah. You did this.
You had to repaint the ship or something.
Yeah, just like listen.
How
all
dare
this
you?
Stuff. Yeah. It's just so funny.
It is pretty good.
So yes, everything belongs to the Emperor.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is a gift.
It is a gift.
Even your life is a gift.
It's true. It's true.
So that is the 12th Black Crusade. The big thing about this is he got his 2 Blackstone fortresses out of it.
Yeah.
Because the Imperium can rebuild. They scour. All the Chaos Taint, eventually they scrub away. They'll replenish all those planets by herding people onto big ships and taking them there to repopulate.
Yeah.
So they can recover from that.
Yeah.
But those 2 Blackstone fortresses in Abaddon's grasp are big deal. And the Planet Killer.
Yeah.
Him showing that power
Yeah.
was a big deal.
All right.
All right.
To the 13th.
To the 13th.
The fall of Cadia.
My favorite.
Favorite what?
The planet broke before the guard did. Sorry, that's been building for like 3 weeks. Okay. Whew.
I'm really kind of glad. I used to get really not frustrated, but I don't know. After reading this, I really liked that Games Workshop decided to wipe out Cadia, because it was such a big move for them to like shake things up. If you really wanted to, you know what I mean.
It's been such an important
increase the odds
area for
raise the
them
stakes.
for so many years. For Games Workshop, I mean.
Yeah.
That it seemed like one of those like permanent settings in the story. Like,
exactly.
Nothing's ever going to happen to Cadia, right?
Yeah.
And then for them to do it, it felt big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope like that they're gonna change the main Imperial Guard regiment away from Cadia and choose something else.
Isn't Cadia like the planet Cadia is gone?
Yeah.
The system is not gone.
Yes.
There are many other.
Yeah. And
I don't think they will.
I don't either,
I don't
but
think
like
they
when I
will.
look at Cadians, I don't think 40k. They have more of a sci-fi aesthetic than a grim dark 40k aesthetic. Like their models.
To like Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
almost.
exactly. Where if you look at like the Vestroyan Firstborn or the Death Corps of Krieg, you get a very 40k feeling from them. You don't get that same one from Cadia. And like they're bound to get new models eventually. Like all those Imperial Guard kits are super old, so it's only a matter of time till they have to.
It is Imperium. So
It is
you're more
Imperium.
likely to get new guard models than you are
Yeah.
new Xenos models.
Yeah.
So
So I hope like maybe this was like for once they actually looked into the future, and this is one way they could shift like the main focus of Imperial Guard.
So yeah, when they release brand new kits, they don't even have to model them after the old Cadian ones. They can start something brand new.
Yeah, they might come up with a brand new one. So
Isn't the Cadian Guard though like how they look and the equipment the most standard thing for the Imperial Guard,
Yeah.
not just for Cadia?
Yes,
But they just
yeah,
call
yeah.
them Cadians because
That's what all Cadians use. And Cadian
Yeah.
was like one of the biggest forces. It was like
Yeah.
the most important.
yeah,
We'll see. We'll see.
I can daydream.
Yeah.
And I do.
If wishes were fishes, right?
Then a dime a dozen.
That's right.
Okay, 13th.
The 13th Black Crusade. The fall of Cadia.
The planet broke before the guard.
The planet broke before the guard.
So the prelude of this,
Yes.
there's a couple years of build up. So this one happens like 900 years after his last one.
Yeah,
Is
it's the 13th is 999 M41.
Yeah, so maybe more like 700 years, I guess. Yeah,
704
800,
737
49,
years.
72. Yeah, what you said.
Yep.
So a couple years before the official start of the 13th Black Crusade, as always,
Things started to boil
exactly
up.
everything.
The
starts
pot,
to-
you start adding a little pepper. And you throw in a little potato, some onion. You turn the temperature up. Right? Oh no, things are moving, shaking, bubbling up. And you get crazy. You start throwing in a little celery.
but it
Right.
started with a rock.
But it's
One rock.
what?
And then
All
rock,
s-
rock soup.
I don't know what rock soup is.
You don't?
No, I was doing the Arrested Development. Like, maybe you got yourself a stew.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim. But yeah, there was a very noticeable build up to this one before the all hell actually broke loose.
Yeah. So plagues start to infest the Cadian sector and beyond. Typhus, the herald of Nurgle, runs unchecked through the system, spreading disease everywhere. The plague crawl appears. I think
Yeah, the
that's-
plague claw is his.
No, it should be Terminus Est. Est. Now we're completely 100% factual.
And maybe
Once have we made a mistake?
for some of the listeners who don't know, this 13th Crusade was partially dictated by the worldwide campaign. Like they based some of the real events that they did during I forget what the campaign was called, Eye of Terror.
Yeah.
Was like directly correlating to the lore.
Yeah,
It's-
which is kind of cool.
The plague claw is in the fleet of Typhus.
Oh, sure, but the main ship is Terminus Est. Like that's Typhus's ship.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
I just don't think the Terminus S appeared at this point.
maybe not.
But
Who's
the
to
plague
say?
claw was, and Typhus was.
If Typhus was there, the Terminus Est would be there.
All right.
You don't go home without your or you don't leave home without your ship because you can't.
Well, he has more than one. He's a big dude. Anyways,
You're pissing me off.
unimportant apparently.
So the officio medicae is overwhelmed with illnesses, and the curse of Bellus Corona is fulfilled, and plague zombies
Yeah.
overrun the
If
system.
if you remember the second Black Crusade, Abaddon goes to Bellus Corona and Temerus something else. But on Bellus Corona, he plants a curse in one of the moons, and then it never awakens. Like Bellus Corona never comes back in the story until now.
yeah, the curse.
So it's
is
kind of
like,
cool. Like it's nice to see like that circle made
sometime
whole.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, like that was over 8,000 years ago
Oh.
that he planted that curse, right? Like that's wild.
Wow.
all a part of the plan or just coincidence?
Just coincidence? Yeah, who knows?
It's the long war. He
It is the long
was
war.
plotting. Yeah.
So cults preaching against the Emperor appear more frequently than ever before within the sector. Space hulks emerge from the eye, and those that are not destroyed, they crash into orbital defenses, strategic naval bases. As chaos swept through the sectors around the Cadian Gate, astropaths and the Emperor's Tarot all point to the same dire predictions: doom, death, and destruction.
But also victory for the Imperium.
But
And
also
all
life,
yes.
hope, salvation.
This overwhelming aura was only punctuated in giving credence with the seemingly self-activation of the pylons scattered across the surface of Cadia. As the warp within the Eye of Terror sought to escape and infiltrate reality, these pylons seemed to fight against this, doing their best to contain the Immaterium threat.
Abaddon was coming back. Everything was pointing towards chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we have the beginning of the 13th Black Crusade.
So it all kind of kicks off with the betrayal on Cadia itself.
So even though the rest of the sector and even the segmentum were feeling the effects of an increase in warp activity, Cadia itself was ready. Knowing this to be the staging ground for the entire coming crusade, Cadian Command ordered every possible Cadian shock troop regiment back to their home planet.
That's nuts.
So
To a lot of guys.
vast landing areas were cleared to allow for the intake of regiments on the planet. So just imagine, like, all right, Canada, we're bulldozing the entire country so we have room to land all these ships. Or like, all right, Australia, like, sorry. Or just, you know what, let's just melt Antarctica and we can just land them all there.
And also every other continent gets less land? No, more land. Less
Well,
land.
we're
Oh,
vaporized.
that's-
Let's just vaporize the water.
There we
go.
right? So we don't flood
Ah, there
anything.
we go.
Yeah.
I just imagine like almost every square inch of Cadia was covered by a shock trooper,
Like,
and like
Just shoulder to
like
shoulder.
every like it was just like a constant stream of like las rifle fire like from every square inch of the planet.
there's so much you could see it from space.
It's just like glowing, like you see
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
It was an incarnation of the Emperor's light. So gave them
Oh
hope.
my god.
Yeah.
with so many millions of Cadian Guard already landed, it was with great pomp and much honor that the Volscani Cataphracts Regiment was received. So even the Cadian High Command went to greet them on their landing field, which was the honor they gave to what was supposedly the most hardened fighters in the sector.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, like the Volscani are here, like we need to actually go greet them.
Give them their medals.
Yeah, exactly. Desperately beg for their aid in the upcoming battle. And
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah. This was the opportune moment, though, for the Volscani Cataphracts were waiting for. With all the Cadian High Command in their sights, they opened fire.
No!
Exposing their true nature as traitors to the Imperium.
How dare they? How dare they?
A man can see only
Son
so
of a-
much evil before he joins it.
So they were clearly siding with chaos,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, they were traitors. Goddamn traitors. Yeah.
After eliminating most of Cadian command, Lord Castellan Ursark E. Creed took control, beat back the Volscani, and ordered the remaining regiments on Cadia to dig in.
He's like, well, boys, here it comes.
Yeah, here it comes. He then sent calls for aid through the entire Imperium, with the Administratum and Space Marine chapters galvanizing with astonishing speed.
Yeah. So I imagine. So before he's like, all right, they're like, okay, call all the Cadian regiments back, and that's a lot of regiments with like good history,
Yeah.
like lots of experience, great gear, like it's a big deal
Yeah.
for that. And then the Volscani comes up, and I like to imagine that they deal like devastating blows.
Yeah.
To like they take out all the crazy gun fortifications that had previously been worked on. They kill a lot of like the regiments that were there. So much so that he's like, "Fuck, we need even more."
Yeah.
Now, and so now he petitions the entire Imperium. He's like, "Please, like send everything."
Oh, so awesome.
Right? So
It's like the loadout scene in a movie where they're just like gear, grenades,
Yeah.
clips, and like.
But it's like the administratum is like getting ready, and
so
then
cool.
you go to the next scene, and Space Marines are getting
Yeah.
ready. Even them are
They're putting
answering the
ammo
call.
pouches
Yeah.
on their shoulders. They're picking up Cadians, putting them on their shoulders.
Yeah, that's right.
Gearing up
Like putting Cadians on those Cadians.
Yeah.
So like it's time.
to war.
Yeah, the last march of the Space Marines.
You know you're not allowed to say that. One more time, and I will sue.
Some of these Space Marines were my friends. I had known from simple gene seed. A wizard should know better.
Jeez Louise.
All right, I'm done.
Okay. I was waiting for one more.
I wanted to start singing the theme song, the Last of the Ends theme song. Oh man!
But that's the vibe I get, you know.
Yeah.
The picture you're painting.
No, for
is what I
sure,
feel.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. After many raids, sorties, and reconnaissance missions, Cadia was still fortifying its position when the main Chaos fleet arrived, consisting of hundreds of warships, space hulks, and transports. They were all eclipsed by the sighting of Abaddon's 2 remaining Blackstone fortresses.
That's crazy. They were eclipsed.
Yeah. Like
By just two
these things are
fortresses.
so
They're
huge.
so big.
I gotta find a picture.
Like
And those fleets are huge.
Oh yeah, no, like Blackstones are absolutely
they're-
huge.
It's hard to
and massive.
conceive like
Yeah.
how big that actually is.
I think like like
crazy.
one of the biggest classes of ships in the Imperium is 13 kilometers
okay.
long.
Yeah.
and
That's
these
the Gloriana class.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
That's the
Blackstone,
Primarch's flagship.
Blackstone fortresses
So-
are
You
infinitely
can see
bigger.
this pyramid right
That's just the
here.
top, eh?
Yeah, and
Wow.
so this is other ships. It's hard with perspective in space, but so just keep that pyramid reference in mind. Maybe we'll go like this.
Yeah, we were trying to find the actual scale of a Blackstone fortress,
and just in
it's
case
tough.
anyone's wondering if they want to see what we're looking at, you got to go to the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this is going to be our first one. So see this pyramid right here?
That's
Oh,
that-
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like that one picture.
yeah.
just was the tip
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
pyramid.
and it fills the whole sky.
Yeah,
basically
exactly.
the tip. Yeah.
And then there's 2 of them. Like they are absolutely wild
Yeah.
Yeah.
in their size.
So a lot bigger than a Death Star.
Much, I assume much bigger.
Is the camera still
Okay.
recording?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
one
it's
there.
still recording.
Okay.
But yeah, like so this one you can kind of see scale, but even that, like you don't know
How
how
far away
I
is
think
it?
that's like
Yeah.
probably just came out of
yeah, like
the
Yeah,
warp or
yeah.
whatever.
Like they
That's
put
far
a they
away.
put like a moon
Like I
or
bet
a
you this
planet.
moon is closer to the.
Oh, much closer.
You think so?
Yeah.
And that's behind the moon.
I think that's behind the moon.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I assume they're absolutely disgustingly huge.
Yeah, at least 7 to 4.
Yeah. On the scale. Yeah.
so.
7 to 4 popcorns for sure. So, in the face of such an overwhelming fleet, it was all the Imperium could do to sell their own lives and give Cadia time to further prepare. That was like the thought running through everyone's head. It's like, well, fuck, like we can't do anything. At least let's just try and harry them and slow them down.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
I'm just trying to find where we are.
Oh, we're at number 7.
As more and more ships and fleets were pulled to harry the Chaos fleet, the more the Imperium controlled space was left unprotected, allowing Chaos forces to lay waste to what they may. At this early stage of the Crusade, millions of lives were already lost, and uncounted planets were ravaged by Abaddon's forces. So yeah, they're just fucking stuff up.
Yeah, this is like true Armageddon.
Yeah.
As the main fleet advanced on the Cadian system itself, the outermost planet, Solar Mariatus, was swiftly taken by Abaddon and the World Eaters. The planet was scoured and refitted to be used as a staging ground for Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade. And
So-
here,
So all across like the sector and stuff, there's planets being attacked and stuff. And we're gonna highlight our favorite battle that happened.
son of a bitch, I'm in.
I particularly like the Battle of Medusa.
Why?
Why?
Why, I ask? Yeah.
Because it's Battle of Medusa 2.0. Remember in the
10th Black Crusade.
that one time they attacked Medusa for no reason?
Well,
But
no.
sorry,
It was
they
to
had
settle a grudge
They had a
between the
grudge.
Iron Warriors and the Iron Hands.
Right.
And thankfully, they also learned.
Well, they learned all about the defenses of Medusa at the same time, so
Okay.
thank God,
Yeah.
because it's so necessary in here.
Yeah.
The most useless conflict of the 13th Black Crusade, the outcome of this battle would not matter at all. That's in my notes, people. Like, I'm not even, like, I'm dead, I hate this.
Yeah. The second time they fucking brought this pointless battle into it.
So we're gonna skim over this because it's useless, but we will say a couple things. While many powerful tanks were seen on Medusa and devastating firepower was brought to bear, not a single one of these massive war engines would be seen later.
Perfect. They just stay there.
They just stay on planet. What's the point? It's Medusa.
Well, what if Medusa gets attacked for a third time? Oh, but wait, maybe it gets destroyed in this battle. I'll wait to find out.
Yeah. Hold your horses. It
Was
gets
Abaddon
better.
like trying to get these tanks, or
No idea. It doesn't say. Abaddon wasn't even there. Medusa is so far away from where Cadia is.
Yeah.
Medusa is on the northwest side of the Eye of Terror.
Okay, so
here's
here's
a
a
map.
galactic map.
Okay. So there's Cadia, right?
This is Cadia right
Yeah.
here.
And there's Medusa on the other fucking side of the Eye of Terror. Why?
Oh.
Why
And,
do you
like,
need to go to Medusa?
So there's only one stable, or two
There's
stable.
two.
So there's a stable way out of the eye right here,
Yeah.
and a stable way right
Yeah,
here.
in the northeast section.
Yeah, so they would have to go all the way around to go attack Medusa.
Why? Why would you go to Medusa?
can't they go out the butt end of?
No, because it's not a stable war. You can, but you risk death.
Yeah.
So they never leave the eye unless they have to, using those special
Maybe
ways.
the guys who are in charge of fighting Medusa, like they just, when they went back into the war, they went out immediately, and just with time, they just accidentally ended up during the 13th Crusade, and they were like,
They're supposed to be a part of the 10?
they were like, we're coming back a day later.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I already said this thing, how Medusa is not in an area of space near the Cadian system. It doesn't matter. Okay, here's another piss-off thing. If the Iron Hands had been destroyed, because they weren't, the Iron Hands were successful in repelling the invaders.
Mm-hmm.
If the Iron Hands had been destroyed, the outcome of the Crusade would not have changed.
Not a single thing.
Not a single thing would have altered if the Iron Hands had been destroyed, because there was nothing of value on Medusa.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like hundreds of planets, the same thing could be said, but they didn't get, like, there's a lot of information on the Battle of Medusa. Those other planets, they didn't get anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just, why?
And so many resources were committed to fighting the, like, why?
Yeah.
But because it involves the Astartes. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Anything with
It's
Astartes
so-
is
Yeah, and
gonna
like
get-
it's
a
so
founding
brutal.
chapter too.
Yeah.
And yeah, what's super weird too about this? I thought, well, maybe it's in like the Iron Hand supplement, like, and it shows it from their perspective. It's like their great victory, but this is in like the Chaos Codex, like, so it's not even like, why highlight something that you lost and had no point.
It's so brutal.
I'm fucking flipping the table, boys.
So there are many other battles in the
I got a
13th.
30.
There's Eldar skirmishes. There's Orc attacks. There's the Diamor campaign. The second siege of Perlia.
Of course.
And all of these, like, all of the fuck you. All of these are important in their own right.
Sure.
But none of them are actually important because they're not Cadia.
Yeah.
Which is where the main. This is where everything happens. So we are going to focus on Cadia itself, obviously, as we have been.
Because that's also
so.
where Abaddon is too.
Yeah, it's where the Blackstone fortresses are. It's where the main Chaos fleet is.
Yeah.
Just like in every battle, there's always that. Like, even these massive campaigns in the scale of the 13th are considered small skirmishes compared to what Abaddon is bringing to Cadia. Okay. So now, the next portion of... So we already talked about the betrayal on Cadia. We talked about the Battle of Medusa. The next thing we have is the battle for the Canadian Gate.
where the Mounties were
The moose.
gathered.
They gathered their
The
moose.
Beavers were sharpening their
Built
teeth.
their igloos.
Prepared to throw back the goddamn invaders.
It's about time.
Don't come in here with your Manitoba face and your Halifax waist. The battle for the Cadian Gate.
Our gate would not last very long.
No, it would
I
not.
Say. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the planetary assault began with the orbital bombardment, and then the ground assault of Chaos Space Marines, the Lost and the Damned, the Neverborn, which are demons,
Yes.
and Chaos Titans, as well as many other assets.
Oh yeah,
like-
these are just like the most biggest, coolest ones. But yeah, whatever you think of that Chaos could potentially use, they're going to
Yeah, like
use.
even the Chaos Space Marines, they had like I think almost every Legion fight like in this battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think pretty
so.
much everyone. There might have been like I don't think I have heard about Alpha Legion being there, but
At the
that's 'cause
very
they're
least,
Alpha Legion.
at the very least, you would have a representative from everything.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
This was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the defenders of Cadia fought on and even held their ground against insurmountable odds. While the ground forces were holding, Imperial reinforcements from Cypra Mundi and the battle fleet Gothic arrived. So this is the same fleet that had fought 700 years earlier.
It would be the same ships for sure.
Absolutely. Not the same crew,
No.
but the same ships. Yeah.
Yep.
They attempted to push back the Chaos fleet to the Cadian Gate, and in doing so, they won back many worlds previously lost in the surrounding sectors. So this is a big show of force for the Imperium to bring all this crap.
Yeah. Instead of being pushed back, the Crusade unleashed unspeakable horrors in the form of demons all around the sectors containing the Eye, such as Seculus and Caliban. Instead of being taken aback by the appearance of these abominations, the Cadian forces rallied and engaged Chaos forces throughout the entire sector.
Yeah, I guess Chaos had assumed hey, look, if we overrun everything with demons, everyone's gonna freak out and
Yeah.
everything. But it's a sign of how experienced and knowledgeable that the Cadian forces are and well trained that they actually were able to rally.
Big cojones, much
oh.
courage.
Yeah,
love it.
fixed bayonets, right?
I don't want to draw another analogy away from 40K, but it makes me think of during
But I will.
yeah, the Battle of Helm's Deep when they're busting. They're
Ride out with me.
no.
last time.
The berserkers are
Get me a box.
they're bashing. They
You'll have to toss me.
they make a hole through
Don't
the.
tell
One of
the
these
elf.
quotes is it?
Yeah, which one is working?
They're using the battering ram on the door, and they're smashing. They smash a hole in, and then that's where Theoden is down with the spear,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
they push. So
Protect the king.
they
That's
chop
the
down
quote.
a bunch
That's
of
the quote.
guys.
That's the quote.
Yeah, there you go. And then a bunch more reinforcements. Oh, and they're just ragtag, whatever.
Yeah,
and they just
old men
and
with
then they just rush in to plug the hole. There's just the amount of men just
with fervor.
with fervor. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopeless fervor.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. So cool.
So just give them las guns and it's the exact same thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even their armor can stay the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just need las guns.
These the Middle Earth Regiment. the Rohirrim Regiment. Anyways. So everyone is kind of just bolstered, but it's again a little bit of one pushes back, the other pushes back, one pushes back. It's still kind of a stalemate. So, but one of the big reasons why the Cadian forces were able to rally was with the arrival of the Adeptus Astartes reinforcements.
Oh man.
And so we're going to include a couple of them. There's probably way more chapters than this that are actually in the 13th Black Crusade, but these are the big ones. So we have Blood Angels, Space Wolves, Dark Angels, Black Templar, Imperial Fist, Grey Knights, White Scars.
Yeah.
It's insane. And if I was an Imperial Guardsman and I saw that many chapters rallying, I would be there's no way we're losing.
Yeah,
that would be a sight to see.
Absolutely.
That would be
That's a
unbelievable.
glass half full type attitude.
Yeah.
Because I would be oh fuck, we're in for some shit.
They needed this many Space Marines. What do they know that I don't?
Exactly.
Yeah. But it does.
It's good to know you're an optimist.
It does say that this this put hope into everyone because it is crazy to see that amount of force.
You could go your entire life without seeing a Space Marine.
And then to see fleets appear. Imagine
these heroes where the only tales you hear about them are of them winning victories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're oh, they're here. Obviously, we're going to win. Because Space Marines don't lose.
Yeah.
I mean, they
So
do. We
nuts.
just never hear about it. We're not allowed to hear about it. Yeah. Ah, yes.
Then you can read this. You like this
Yes,
kind of stuff.
I
You're
do.
already.
Okay. Then the dark apostle Erebus himself. He completed a dark ritual begun by his followers. By killing millions of innocents, the entire region around the Eye of Terror was attacked by a warp storm so intense that inter-system travel was rendered impossible. So you can't even make the smallest jump that the Imperium makes. They couldn't even do that because the warp storm was so crazy.
That's a lot of innocent goats he killed.
Oh,
I know I sacrifice 32 goats a week for my dice roll, so I can't imagine how many goats it would be there.
What a waste when you don't even roll dice that week. It's just on the chance that you do.
It's just keeping on top of the tab.
I get it. Well, now it's a habit too.
Yeah.
I find solace.
Yeah.
It's therapeutic.
It's comforting. Yeah.
So is this the Cicatrix Maledictum?
No, not even close.
Oh.
This is just warp storms.
Just
But
warp storm.
like, okay, you read a lot in Lexicanum about like terrible rituals and like profane acts or whatever.
Dark deeds.
Yeah, exactly. That like is required for these rituals. But you hear it so often that it kind of
Redundant.
Yeah, it feels redundant, and it kind of loses any kind of evil that you might have once associated with it. But in reading, like, the Solar War and, like, the Siege of Terra... What the fuck is the second...
Lost in the Damned.
That's right, yeah. I'm reading it. How do I not know that?
Well, I'm smarter than you,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. But in reading those, they actually, like, describe, like, what it takes for these rituals, and it's... I really love the... evil that it's committed. Like it's not just like, oh, it's
You're
evil.
worrying me, but
It doesn't just say like, oh, it's evil, and then they like move on past it. Like they're gonna try and show you actually how evil this really is. Like,
give us an example.
well,
Cut off your dicks, shove it in your butt. Oh, dark arts, very profane.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. or
okay.
what?
Well, there's one really cool example where there was like an orbital station floating in the solar system, and it's where like the bones of all the heroes of the Imperium were brought
Okay.
to rest,
Sure.
like through the.
Bone Planet. We got Bone Planet.
It was heroes from the Great Crusade.
Sure.
So the Great Crusade was how long? 200 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so all the heroes that died in the Great Crusade, their bodies were brought back and entombed on this planet, given to heroes. But it was like they built it, and the word bearers were in charge of like protecting it and making sure it stayed like safe and like its upkeep and everything. It was just their responsibility. And during the Great Crusade, they were still in charge of it even after they turned traitor because it was a secret.
Yeah.
And apparently they just desecrated the inside of that whole thing. They like dug up bodies. They're doing like dark rituals
Playing
with
with
them.
bones.
They're like taking like slaves there and sacrificing them to like mess up like all the like the souls of the individuals and like torment them. And then eventually like it comes to a head and they like black out the sun. So they've been building this ritual for like years, and they've slowly been doing it, and then at some point they drag like millions of like innocents into this planet, and they end up just like one by one they just cut all their throats, and it just spills gore into this thing, and then with that like the sun blacks out. And it's just like I love the thematic of like it's not just evil, like this is soul crushing evil. Like if you weren't messed up before, you are now. And I love that darkness that is communicated with like the word bearers specifically. The word bearers specifically are super fucked up.
Because it's not just murder. Like
No,
or
it's-
berserkers, they're just gonna kill you.
Exactly. This is ritual,
Word bearers are gonna
plan,
kill you and play with
sacrifice.
your corpse.
Yeah.
I know two things in life: don't diddle children, and don't play with corpses.
Oh yeah, our
Those-
conversation.
Those are the two.
Don't diddle
rules.
kids.
Your rules for life.
Those are the two rules.
Well,
and-
we just found out about the Boy Scouts and of how the Boy Scouts are claiming bankruptcy now.
they were doing dark acts in the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, like due to the number of the class action lawsuit against them for sexually assaulting children.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they committed Chapter 11. They're filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Right.
But it's like we're talking, and it's like like it's weird that we have to say this, but like don't diddle kids. Like
And
how is that? How is it not just like you eat, right? You eat because you have to live. You sleep and then don't diddle kids. Like, those should be things that no one has to communicate to you.
It's one of those things. It's sort of like it's a moral hazard, right? Like, it's always going to happen no matter what, as long as there's kids around.
So we got to kill all the kids.
Maybe in 40K.
I heard, Jordan, you might have a newborn.
I do.
Shall you put words to your or actions?
No,
to your
no,
words,
but
or?
I'm saying like it's tragic. It's
Yeah.
obviously very tragic, but like public schools.
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah, because that was the one other thing. Like, if
Yeah.
you look at the actual percentages in all these areas, they're pretty much all the same.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
yeah.
nothing
It's a Catholic-
special about like the
Yeah.
Boy Scouts that
Yeah, yeah.
increases your chances or anything. It's
yeah,
just,
it's like a tragic, unfortunate part of life, but there's just people like that, and you can't tell them not to diddle kids. They know that, right? Like,
I'm gonna tell them.
Or you could tell
I'm
them.
gonna go tell all
but it's
of
not
them.
going to change their minds.
It will
Okay.
when I start chopping off fingers.
Yeah.
That it'll change their
You
mind.
just got to get rid of one appendage.
Yeah,
Anyways, I digress.
yeah.
We all
Sorry,
digress.
sorry.
But basically, the takeaway is don't
Yeah,
diddle
don't
kids.
do
diddle
it.
children.
Don't do it.
Don't play with corpses.
That's right. Yeah, bad things are gonna happen
Yeah.
regardless. Anyways, Erebus is still alive. That's also a cool thing to take
Yeah,
away from
yeah,
this. Erebus is definitely still alive and doing dark deeds.
See the guy who did that?
He's like
That
the
Blood Lake,
He's the first
where the-
heretic. Oh, you're talking about like Doombreed? No, I don't think so.
no.
No, that was Abaddon. Yeah,
Okay.
Erebus was the guy who put the whole Horus heresy into motion. He was the
he's
guy.
the first heretic.
Yeah, the guy who talked to Logar about
Wow.
chaos, and then he was
He
the
went to
guy-
Horus.
Yeah, and
He did the anatheme. He
he
got
started
Horus
all like
stabbed.
the warrior
My gosh.
cults,
The
or
serpent
whatever.
cults.
Serpent cults, sure.
Serpent Lodge.
Serpent Lodge, yeah.
Yeah.
Warrior Lodge, actually.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, the serpent ones were on Davin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Serpent Lodge.
We got there, though.
We did eventually. What's the name of the ship called?
The SSS
That's
Diddle
right.
Children.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. All right. So, as the Crusade was now broken up into many different fronts because of the no intersystem travel,
Yeah.
the Planet Killer began its voyage to Cadia. You fact.
Don't like that.
Yeah. So, with all Imperial forces cut off from each other, beset on all sides by chaos, Abaddon at Cadia's doorstep, and the Planet Killer on its way, Cadia was once again on the verge of despair. Terrible.
Terrible.
Well, like not only that, like Cadia, like
Depressing.
Cadia, like moved their high command to the other side of the planet because they were nervous about it being like destroyed. They encountered Xenos, like Eldar and orcs, and Tyranids. There was a Tyranid high fleet that showed up.
was
Leviathan.
around.
Yeah,
gosh.
so they're like it's the ultimate fuckery.
Yeah.
And then, perhaps worst of all, the creme de la creme, the creme fraiche, rumors of the demon Primarchs emerged.
Very cool. Yeah, and for some of them, it's been, thousands of years.
And anytime the Primarchs show up, shit gets real.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Don't like that.
To draw them out of the warp and back into like reality is nuts.
You don't want to do it. Do I dare say there's now 3 rules?
Don't demon Primarch.
Don't do that.
Yeah. This is the sad moment. If this were a movie, this is the moment where like all the
Slow-mo.
sound cuts out and it's just like one person like vocalizing in the background and everyone's crying and there's just death all around
Boy
you.
choir singing.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's as like the Mortarion like shows
Yeah.
up on his like
Yeah.
His wings.
So, yeah, and up until this point, like, we had a good director of this movie.
yeah.
But then that director now died, and somehow now we got Michael Bay to direct the rest
Oh,
of-
yeah.
Well, you know what? There's going to be some really good action shots then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fall of Cadia.
Fall of Cadia. Okay. So, pushed back to Kasser Kraf, the last remaining bastion on Cadia, the Cadian forces despaired. But then, Creed unleashed his special tanks. And,
He
success.
had these salvation bases that he was holding
holding
his-
on to.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he pressed the button and millions of tanks rolled out into the street.
Yeah, perfect.
Whoa.
But then
the Blackstone fortresses, the will of eternity arrived.
Okay, but then Cadia used Xenos technology that was actually already on the planet. What? Yeah, to shield the planet because all their other shields had gone out. But then they were just like, "Hey, Xenos."
But then Trazan shows up.
But then Belisarius, Call, and the Harlequins showed up.
Yeah, I see you that. And raise you, demon princes of Ukaluthuthuthu showed up.
Urkanthos? Urkanthos? Okay.
The doom of the Imperium is nigh now.
So maybe so. And there may be a demon prince, but then Celestine shows up. Huh?
Oh, no.
Got you there.
But, Trazan is there. We forgot about Trazan.
Oh, shit. Trazan is there.
He opened his bag of impossible goodies, and friendship happened.
What?
Yep.
So much friendship.
At that, wait, hang on. When I was kind of reading into this, like in this bag of good, is this he has that Pokemon type thing where he's like soul captured these people and
then he captured a bunch of
like literally a Pokeball.
30k Horus Heresy Ultramarines.
That's not even when these guys show up.
Oh,
he's just unleashing other shit from his collection.
Like literally, I have this Imperial God regiment. By the way, Trazan is a Necron.
He's a Necron lord that he's called the Collector, and he just travels the galaxy.
Yeah.
He's here because my collection is resonating. And his collection is on the other fucking side of the galaxy. And he's like, but it's originating in Cadia. I will travel.
Oh my gosh.
So he's there by himself.
But then more demons show up.
But then the Phalanx shows up, crashes into the Blackstone Fortress, and cripples itself.
Nani?
But then Abaddon got angry and swore to lead the next assault himself.
My God, we're surely doomed this time.
Okay, but then the Legion of the Damned shows up.
Of course.
But then Call snitched out Abaddon's plan to destroy the pylons and accept Trazan's help to do things to them.
I'm in.
But then Abaddon was aware and teleported into Creed's command tower.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which apparently he could do this whole time.
Yeah.
And decided not to.
But then Trazan appeared again.
Oh no, that son of a bitch.
And opened his bag of goodies one more time and unleashed more friendship. And this is the moment where he unleashed all the 30k Marines.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, but then more demons showed up.
Hey, son of a bitch, demons!
Wait, Mark's gonna love this. But then the Wolfen showed up. At this point, it's over, right?
Yeah,
it's over.
You can't possibly get crazier
This
than
is the end
Wolfen.
of the whole campaign, right?
Yeah.
But wait.
There's more!
Trazan and Call declare their alterations to the pylons a success.
Okay, but then, even with all the pylons active, all warp-sensitive beings begin to lose power, which means Celestine.
Oh no.
All the demons who are there, they lose power, they start to fade, and even Celestine starts to lose power.
Oh no. So the battle between Creed and Abaddon and Celestine takes a crippling toll
Absolutely,
on Creed.
yes.
He falls low to the War Master of Chaos, the most powerful being in the galaxy, and he loses an arm.
Oh, terrible.
Poor Creed loses an arm.
So,
Wait. But then Celestine stabs Abaddon.
protecting and saving Creed? I'm
Could
so
it be?
thankful.
And this is the end of the 13th. But then Abaddon teleports away.
Yeah.
Orders a withdrawal and Imperium victory.
Oh, okay, but you say Imperial victory.
Uh-huh.
But then Abaddon puts engines on the destroyed pieces of Blackstone fortresses and aims them at Cadia, trying to destroy it. Chaos victory.
Oh, wait. But then Cadia evacuates all inhabitants except for one regiment left behind to deal with the demons.
Of course.
Imperial victory.
Son of a bitch.
But then the Planet Killer fires at Cadia at the same time as the Blackstone fortresses hit the planet. And Cadia begins to split apart and the pylons begin to fail. Chaos victory.
Ooh.
But then Celestine appears in full power once again to lead the forces of the Imperium in a tactical retreat from the planet. Imperial victory.
Okay, I see you there, but I raise you. But then...
Oh, yeah?
You son of a bitch. The warp is gaining power back in the Cadian system, and the Eye of Terror is growing. Chaos victory.
The stakes.
But then Creed, who is actually still alive on a destroyed planet, somehow makes friends with Trazan.
You son of a bitch!
And he goes into Trazan's bag.
It's the goddamn friendship.
A friendship. So Necron victory.
Necron victory.
This whole thing is a Necron victory.
Hold up. Because then Abaddon wants some MacGuffin that Call has and tries to capture him. Potential chaos victory.
All right, okay, but then Celestine has a vision to escape all the bad people by going to the planet of Callisis, Imperium victory. Or sorry, Imperium escape. Yeah.
But then the Black Legion shows up, and
Son
they're
of a
about to
bitch.
wipe out all the Imperial forces, so chaos victory.
But then Celestine leads the Black Legion into a trap set by Eldrad Uthran, and everyone escapes into the webway and go to Ultramar. Eldar victory.
Son of a bitch.
Should we do this last one together?
No, I'm not doing that.
We'll summon something
But
terrible.
then Abaddon has had enough of this goddamn bloodshed and calls back his forces, ending the 13th Black Crusade, the fall of Cadia. Chaos and Imperium victory.
Well done, GW. Well
Well
done.
done. That was a straight up Mortal Kombat.
That was a roller
You know.
coaster ride.
It's so ridiculous, that whole,
Fucking wild.
like, reading that whole thing, it, honestly, like, we're joking about it, but
we're
that's
not.
actually,
We didn't make up any of these
no,
points.
it actually just, like, goes one and then the other, and, like, chaos gains power, Imperium gains power, chaos, Imperium.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's truly, like, annoying to read through, because you get through it, and you're
Painful.
like, hey, how many times are they going to trade before something real happens?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
all of this was useless.
Yeah, and it's also like coincidental, like Legion of the Damned somehow are now here. Like
The Wolfen? Oh no, we haven't seen them in so long.
Yeah, it's just
Abaddon teleported. I loved the thing you said earlier when we were planning. So Abaddon is, without a doubt, the most powerful being in the galaxy after the Demon Primarchs.
and even then, like if you know how to banish them, maybe that if you have
Yeah,
a side
Abaddon's
cannon,
not a demon.
yeah, like
He can't be banished to the warp like a
Yeah.
demon
Yeah.
can.
yeah,
Right? And then, like, Abaddon is... I say he's more powerful than Reboot. I think in a fight, Abaddon beats Repute purely because of warp fuckery.
Yeah, the forces of.
So, anyways, yeah, I think that's more debatable, but that's how I see it.
Yep.
But Mark's like, okay, Abaddon is the War Master of Chaos, champion of the pantheon of all Chaos gods. He has the two most famous, most powerful weapons
Trechnia,
that you can possibly carry. Drachnian, right, which is a demon.
weapon where when he hits a fortress wall, it
crumbles.
explodes.
Yeah. And then he also has the Talon of Horus, which struck the Emperor.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Any
mortally
weapon-
wounded the Emperor.
Any weapon that can mortally wound the Emperor will disintegrate whatever it touches. Right? So he has these things, but Creed only manages to lose an arm.
And if you ever see, like, Creed actually has a model, so this is
Yeah.
why he survives. And if you ever see a picture of his model or him, he's like this big, think Churchill. No,
Winston Churchill.
yeah, Winston Churchill. Think that, like a big,
Yeah.
kind of stocky man.
Kind of slightly overweight.
Yeah.
And yeah.
How does he fight Abaddon, the War Master of Chaos, and only lose an arm?
Yeah. And then he gets in the Pokeball of friendship, so that's
Oh,
fine.
did we even say that?
Yeah, we did.
My God.
Yeah. So basically,
crazy.
the outcome of this is really cool. Cadia gets destroyed. Like we all agree that's cool. I like that
Yeah.
twist. And even more importantly, it's the weird thing is. So I always assume that the Cicadictrus Maledictum happened because they destroyed Cadia, but no one actually knows if that's why the Cicadictrus.
Yeah,
actually
we can
happened.
make that connection.
And most
Yeah.
likely that's the connection.
Yeah.
So the pylons, just to recap, was holding back the warp, right?
Yes.
And Abaddon's great big plan was to expand the Eye of Terror territory, right?
Yeah,
So
a
that
big-
it, like, Cadia doesn't get sucked into the eye, but the eye envelops.
Yes.
Cadia, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
the eye is growing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I like the idea, but just the execution of it is so fucking bad.
Yeah, I think this is written really poorly.
Yeah.
Cool storyline, could have had like a really nice solid path.
Yeah.
And instead they keep trying to like tug your emotions and one up you, like raise the stakes again, raise the stakes again, raise the stakes again. And it's like at some point, like, I have nothing left to give. Like I don't care anymore.
Yeah, like how many times did they like, oh yeah, but then demons happened.
Yeah.
It's like they were already there doing demon things.
Like how is it a big deal that there's more demons? Like there already are demons.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I got frustrated reading this because it could have been written much better.
It's such a cool moment. Like I think most of the last lore in 40K for the last 5 years is bullshit. But one of the things I really do like is that they rip the galaxy in half, and that all happens because of this whole Fall Acadia, and because of the whole 13th Black Crusades. They all led up to this one point.
Absolutely.
And it's just sad to see such a shitty way it's written.
Just that one thing. That the Fall of Acadia is just, it could have been so much cooler.
Yeah. So the 13th Black Crusades are ended. Abaddon has accomplished a goal.
It wasn't his. So he had kind of two goals in this crusade, because he eventually, I don't know if it's him personally, because I haven't read this part yet, but he goes to Cadia, or to Terra. Does he go to Terra, or does a portion of his fleet tries to get there?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is always one of his goals is to kill the Emperor. Yeah. That's always going to be yes. Yeah. But in this one, this is also the culmination of something called the Crimson Path, where he was attempting to blanket the entire Imperium with warp gates. Like he was trying to turn the Eye of Terror into something that, instead of being localized, would cover every planet and star in the Imperium. That is also one of his goals.
Yeah.
So, and while it failed, kind of, because it didn't give the outcome that he wanted, the galaxy was ripped in half through this massive warp storm. So, so that's the end of the Black Crusades. So now we're going to talk a little bit about a couple things that we rushed over or pointedly ignored in the previous episode, and this one even.
Yeah, we didn't want to give spoilers away, but I just pulled up an image of the Great Rift. I don't think you're going to be able to see. I should have added it to the slideshow, but yeah, it's just such an awesome fucking thing to see that. Like,
that's the whole galaxy, right?
Wow. And it's just been now ripped in half, like literally. Oh, like it's such a cool change. Like it makes everything so much more scary in 40K.
And just imagine if he had covered the entire galaxy in that, like,
and all those little spots are
just warp storms,
like smaller warp storms.
Purple.
So you say little, but there's still hundreds of thousands of millions of kilometers across.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
All right, so let's talk about Blackstone.
Yeah, so a big thing about Blackstone is when we go through the Crusades, we're going to highlight that
there is a connection.
There is a connection.
Yeah.
So Blackstone is like this metal that...
It's a naturally occurring, it exists in our reality.
Yeah.
And it's psychosensitive.
Yeah. And it has two functions. It either has the ability to block warp energy or amplify it. So we got examples of both of these. Blackstone fortresses are made out of Blackstone.
Yeah.
And they have the ability to amplify warp energy and use it.
Exactly, and to fire it into pure beam, right? So that's one function of the Blackstone.
The other function is to
contain
warp.
it.
Yeah. So, and the example of this that we have, we kind of probably jumped over it when we were doing the but then. But on Cadia, there's actually Blackstone pylons, and they were holding back the warp, and then that's when the Blackstone fortress hits it, then everyone regains power, or they lose power.
Exactly.
There's that back and forth. So that's cool. That's a very cool
Imagine
aspect.
like a blank, but put into this fortress and then amplified very powerfully. Like it's literally canceling out warp effects.
Yeah.
Fairly far past the planets, like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like the Cadia is not like super close to
would
the
it protect
Cadian
the
gate.
whole system? You think? Probably.
It was attempting to.
Wow.
Like that's
as far as the Cadian gate. Maybe.
Yeah, it's trying to push back the warp as far as possible. Yeah. And these
maybe it would be as strong as like a solar system's gravitational field, you know, like
No idea.
which is pretty far.
Yeah.
I would like to see the science behind that, Tim.
Yeah.
Before you start making outlandish statements like that, unbacked by
Goddamn
science.
mantis shrimp.
I will go into the Eye of Terror for 10,000 years, collect my data,
Thank you.
and return.
The interesting thing to note here is
good
that
man.
Blackstone pylons aren't just on Cadia.
No.
They're actually spread around the entire galaxy.
Yeah.
And everyone, like, they might even have different shapes, like,
Yeah.
from one section to the next, but they're
'Cause-
all, like, massive monoliths
Yeah.
of this black, unknown
Stone.
Yeah.
stone. Yeah.
Yeah. So another cool thing about Blackstone is, anyone can use it. Like anyone can mine it and make use of it.
It's tough, though.
Yes. Sorry,
Like-
maybe I'm making it sound too easy.
Yeah.
But the potential there is.
Yeah,
there.
of course. If you spend
Yes.
enough time studying it, you
Yes.
also could learn its secrets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Necron were known to have made great use of it, and they set up a bunch of the pylons everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
But
and
but
reason
even
for
the
that-
Necron
yeah,
couldn't master the Blackstone fortresses.
yeah,
Oh.
Even they didn't understand how to fully use it to manipulate warp energy. They were just like, hey, we found this one function of it. We know how to make it contain warp energy.
And they have the best tech, right?
And and they're like the smartest race in the entire galaxy.
So the Necron went across the galaxy, and they made a bunch of these pillars.
Way
these
back in the War in
pylons.
Heaven.
Yeah, because their main foe was the Old Ones and the Eldar, who had unlimited psychic potential, and that was their main weakness, because they had no psychic potential, no defense against it.
So they were using the
basically-
Blackstone as a way to dampen the warp energy in the galaxy.
Yeah. So Abaddon somehow finds out about this. He finds out about the pylons, whether he stumbled across it,
Whether it was given to him or he
Yeah.
like earned this knowledge.
whether
or-
he might not even know about it.
Yeah,
and
it might just be a coincidence.
I don't lean necessarily on that one.
I don't either
Maybe
because
at the
of
beginning.
yeah.
But yeah, so Abaddon actually goes on a bunch of Black Crusades to specifically destroy Blackstone pylons or relics.
Yeah, you even see a kind of a progression too with it. So in his second crusade, he destroys, and we mentioned this before, the Eldritch Needles is what it's described as. But when you understand what Blackstone is, you know that, oh, he was actually destroying pylons. And he destroyed them completely. So
Yeah.
even if he didn't know exactly what their function was,
He
he
thought
knew
they were just relics. Or
he could have, but he did. It was important enough that he destroyed them.
Yeah.
On his fourth crusade, he goes to the Citadel of Cromark, and there's an ancient monolith within it. That monolith is Blackstone,
Yeah.
and he specifically seeks it out and destroys it.
Yeah.
Right? That's the gate. He sunders the gates with his Drachnian on that in that crusade.
Yeah. On the 5th, many shrines and sacred sites were destroyed. Whether this was Blackstone, we don't know. It's not as clear as the other ones, but there's a very good potential that like sacred sites were usually like in the 4th, the Cromark one, that was like a sacred shrine
Yeah.
or like sacred site. So it's possible that he was going around just destroying more Blackstone that he found.
Absolutely. But not only did he destroy in that one, but he also stole a lot of those relics, which we
Yeah.
assume were Blackstone relics.
Yeah.
So now at this point, it's like, okay, is he learning about Blackstone? Is
Yeah.
he trying to perform experiments?
Yeah.
Is he trying to understand what it is initially? So you kind of see a progression in here,
Yeah. So then on the 6th, he destroys the Ziggurat's on a Forge World.
which
And-
were Blackstone.
Yeah, and the way they describe them is they're like
Pyramid in shape.
yeah, and like they use like warp nullifying or
Exactly,
They never
yeah.
actually come out in any of these and say they're Blackstone, but they always describe them like with these monolith shape. Obviously, Necron, warp amplifying ability or whatever. They always describe it in that similar way.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
and then even on the 13th Crusade, the pylons on Cadia, also Blackstone.
Yeah.
So that theme runs through all of his Black Crusades, is him and Blackstone.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe the pylons are partly of how the fortresses can operate. Like if the pylons are up, then I don't know. Maybe that's why.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
And it's interesting too. So like the Eye of Terror happened, and when Slaanesh was born, it exploded out, and then it just happens to stop. Yeah, like
Right at the edge of Cadia.
because there's pylons there. It happens to
Yeah.
stop. So he probably went around like all of Terra at one point, destroying every pylon he could find. Like, yeah. So that was a big thing that he did. The other really big thing he did during his crusades was he went around gathering relics and
Powerful things,
Yeah.
items.
So like on his first one, he found the demon sword of Drachnia, which is like the craziest weapon in 40k. Like maybe only the Emperor's sword is better. Like hard to say.
Titan sword.
So Caldor Drago's not quite comparable.
I have to peace out.
Oh, you're gonna leave?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Just
Thanks for joining. We're not done. Tim's just gonna leave.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Peace out, man.
Get out of here, you son of
Glad
a.
I could make it to the Crusades with you, fine gentlemen.
We'll see you at the 14th.
Yeah, I'll be there.
To participate.
Yeah.
All right. So in the Fifth Crusade, he captured relics, right? In the seventh, that was the Ghost War one where they like immediately dispersed after entering real space, doing things, and they're presumably looking for Blackstone, more relics, or just like targets or whatever. But like it's just reconnaissance at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly. He could just be exactly. So the 10th Crusade,
he gathered the Planet Killer,
Yeah.
right? That massive ship capable of destroying planets.
yeah.
And then the 12th Crusade. Now, he didn't gather these during the 12th Crusade, but he used them in the 12th Crusade.
I tried to find when it said he gathered them. I couldn't find it.
I think one of them
but-
he gathered in order to gain the favor of one of the Chaos Gods.
Yeah, so they have books on these two, and we're talking about the Hand of Darkness and the Eye of Night, and they actually have 2 audio dramas on these. But so these are relics that he could have potentially found during the 5th or the 7th, or
Who
whatever.
knows?
And
Not us. We don't know. Someone does.
Someone knows.
Yeah.
But basically, these 2 unlock the power of the Blackstone fortresses. They're essentially keys. So I was talking earlier about how Blackstones have two
active
stages.
and inactive.
Yeah, exactly. So with these, he was able to activate the Blackstone fortresses.
Yeah.
So
there's this thing called the Crimson Path. And
Yeah.
the Crimson Path describes Abaddon's journey from his first crusade all the way to his 13th crusade.
Yeah.
And in the Crimson Path, it does specifically mention Blackstone over and over and over again.
Okay.
So Blackstone is his journey to rid the galaxy of all the pylons and to bring the warp and cover everything. That's like the Crimson Path is known for it. So the question I don't know, kind of that we went through earlier was like did Abaddon know what he was doing?
Yeah.
Was it his target from the very beginning, or
Yeah.
did he slowly learn? Was it shaped about things?
I think it was definitely like a slow learn.
You do?
Yeah. Like yeah.
It's very possible. Like
I
I
don't
see either.
I definitely don't think he was ignorant and this was all just coincidence.
No,
Like-
that would seem a little crazy if it was pure coincidence.
Yeah.
But there's something else about the Black Crusades, and that's the prophetic aspect of it.
Yeah.
So we haven't talked about this at all, but there is a couple books, and these are literary supplements. So one is the Liber Kiyotaka.
Yeah.
It's an older book. I think it was written in like 2005 or something.
It's a very strange book.
It is, yeah, and it details actually the birth of corn.
Yeah.
And among other things, it just also talks about like how like old Terra, like before the War of Unification and everything, how they interacted with chaos.
Yeah.
And
Now, anything you read in that book,
Yeah.
I don't know if this was intentionally written to feel chaotic, but like, it's weird because it combines fantasy and also
40K,
which are not. They're not. In
yeah,
the same
it
setting.
even mentions Sigmar.
Yeah, exactly.
in that book.
Yeah, so it's very weird. So don't take anything in that book as canon, but it is interesting still.
You could read it more as like a story,
Yeah, sure.
like maybe like tales like told to like children or whatever,
Sure.
like to be careful or Karneth is gonna come get you, right? Like crap like that. But it was also interesting because there's prophecies about the Black Crusades within this book.
Yeah.
And the other book, which isn't a real book, it's just referenced in the Chaos Space Marine Codex.
Okay.
It's called the Liber Malefact.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's like a Chaos Bible.
Sure.
And it's just full of like profane prophecies, like just the same way that, on the side of good, they have their own prophecies and legends and myths. Why would Chaos not have the exact same thing? You know, why would they not have their own prophecies that they're trying to fulfill?
Yeah.
And I really like these because part of me likes to think that Abaddon found these prophecies and he's just trying to fulfill them.
Yeah.
So he is kind of stabbing in the dark
Yeah.
at these crusades because he's like, I'm just trying to do what the prophecy fulfills. And you know what? That does make the 10th Crusade make sense.
Yes, because when
Because-
we get to that
Exactly.
prophecy,
Yeah. Okay. So we'll run through the prophecies that we have. So we have one prophecy says, and the fallen will band together and herald one among them king.
Yeah.
And that is the First Crusade and Abaddon raising himself above everyone else by claiming Drachnian that he found in a dream.
Yeah.
Another prophetic device.
Yeah, so he definitely pays attention to them.
Absolutely. He gives them like credence and power.
Yeah.
Right? And so he finds Drachnian, he becomes king.
Yeah.
And the fallen are all of Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah.
And then we have the second one. The eye will close on the king of blood, and a fortress will rise to contain him. What was the second? The second Black Crusade
Eldritch
was the cursing
Needles.
of Corona. So that's like maybe that could be the eye. It's like blinding the eye in order to... oh no, that one also had Tesseract Labyrinths with demons.
Yeah.
So that's the fortress containing him. And then
It's
the
very
third...
cryptic.
Yeah, in the third, an age of apostasy, the wolf warriors bay and howl. That's the desecration of Gerstal, the host of Talaman. And then there's more in the fourth. So the fourth crusade, the quote is, in the fourth, insurgents, the horror will be spliced with fire. And that one is the devastation of Elfinor and the death of Cromark, the destruction of the grand citadel of Cromark. The sixth, there wasn't one for the fifth.
Yeah, not all of them have one.
Yeah, the sixth was, and men will bare their breasts and invite destruction to take them. Abaddon brings the sons of Ai to heal. Oh, that's Drakarth's folly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's the one where he like convinces his other buddy to come with him, and then like ritually sacrifices and kills him, and then forces all of his men to watch. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they invite destruction to take them. Yeah. Seventh, for the seventh time, he came as Shadow.
So that's the Ghost
That's
War
the Ghost War, right? Where he's like, is he reading these and trying to interpret them? And he's just trying to follow what the prophecies say. So we don't have one for the 8th or 9th.
But the 10th.
But the 10th.
At Medusa's walls, the Iron Guard will break.
Yeah.
So that's when he attacked Medusa
For no reason.
But that would explain it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because he's trying to follow the prophecy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you read it as he is just trying to follow the prophecies, the 10th makes sense.
Yeah.
For him as well. Maybe even him, as he's planning it, he's like, fuck, like there's no reason why I would ever go to Medusa.
Yeah.
But he's like, I can't stop now.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying, maybe for him, he's even doing a ritual.
Yeah. It almost adds like to his character a little bit.
I
you know?
agree.
Like if that is, I hope it's the case because it makes his character. I like he's so committed to the cause and to the prophecy. Like he's possessed by it.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah. He can't give it up.
Yeah.
Like even the 10th, he's like, how am I even going to convince people to join me in this crusade? It's so useless.
Yeah.
So he's like, fuck. He's like, remember that time, Iron Warriors, that the Iron Hand screwed you over?
This Iron Hand guy called you fat.
Exactly. Like, what did it take for him to like make up a grudge maybe about it? So I don't know. Okay, and then we don't have one for the 11th. At the 12th, we have, at the time of the 12th, all things will be decided. And I think what it's referring to there is the fact that he got the Blackstone fortresses. It was decided then that he would rip the galaxy in half. It's like the turning point.
Yeah.
If he wasn't able to gather them, the 13th would have had no power.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Would have been a different thing for sure.
Exactly. And then the 13th has the longest quote of all. And it says, 13 times shall the Traitor King go forth. In the end times, the iron fortress shall be cast down, its walls breached and its gate forced open. Those that dwell beyond shall spill through it. The air shall burn and the ground shall melt. The demon shall lie down with the machine. Brother shall slay brother with fire and sword. And the sky wound shall pour its malice forth. The eye shall stare unblinking at its prize, and the Traitor King shall cross the bridge of stars. He shall return to finish the warmonger's red work. Upon holy soil shall the fate of man be decided.
Yeah, clearly just talking about pouring from Cadia and destroying.
Yeah, but also the Traitor King could be Abaddon, but it also could be Magnus.
No, I think that's definitely Abaddon.
I think it's Abaddon too, but it was a big deal that Magnus appeared after this.
Yeah.
And he's normally referred to as the Crimson King in like prophetic things, but yeah, I also think it's Abaddon, but I could see the argument made for Magnus.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's and that's from the Liber Malefact, which is quoted from a Chaos Space Marine Codex.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's definitely very cool, and it adds a lot to it. Like, it just makes like it all so much more mysterious. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like,
I like that though.
What was the
I like the
ritual?
prophecy.
Yeah.
I definitely really like the prophecy aspect as well.
Yeah.
I like the fact that, and then like so Abaddon is also like an extremely accomplished and very good tactician in general.
Yeah.
Like, he's not an idiot. He's very smart. So he's reading these and he's like, okay, like these are the prophecies. I have to try and fulfill them. Not only like trying to fulfill a prophecy like offers its own weird paradoxes in and of itself, but he's like, what if even completing the prophecy isn't enough? Like, it doesn't really mention Blackstone in these prophecies.
No.
Right? But that was instrumental in him completing his 13 Black Crusades.
Yeah.
And that's the Crimson Path. And so he knows about the Crimson Path, or it's another prophecy or another book, and he's trying to combine the two, and he's like, I need the prophecies to match up with what I'm trying to do with the Blackstone. And he's like, and maybe in the end, it wouldn't have mattered what tool he had used.
Yeah.
Right? As long as he had followed the prophecies, everything had I don't know. I really like the train of thought that this prophecy gives you.
Yeah.
It's also very chaos.
Yeah.
It's super like fits in with how chaos works and acts.
Yeah.
It is it kind of fits to like the whole Blackstone component as well. To many character arcs and stories, like you need a magical boon or something.
Absolutely.
That it's like a tool or a weapon that helps you achieve your goals.
Yeah, first go through this struggle of finding these things, and then you'll be unstoppable because your character was already tested.
Yeah.
That's exactly exactly how I see it.
Yeah.
He's a classic like anti-champion.
Totally, yeah.
Like everyone, like all of Chaos is cheering for him, just like how everyone in the Imperium is cheering for someone else. And I don't know. He's just trying to fulfill what he views as his destiny, and I love it.
It's pretty sweet, actually. Yeah.
So the 13th ended. Do we think there's going to be a 14th? We kind of talked about it last time.
Yeah.
Or is Abaddon now content?
So I think
as you like Thanos, he's gonna go and
farm.
Go start a farm.
So the Crimson Path is done.
Yeah. Okay.
Abaddon is done with the Blackstone, I believe.
Sure.
Like, not only are his Blackstone fortresses destroyed.
He still has one, I think.
Does he still have one?
Yeah, because one got crashed.
The Will of Eternity.
Yeah, and then the other one is still around.
But that one is it's not nearly as powerful having just one.
Yeah.
So the Crimson Path is done. He's done with the Blackstone. But anytime he himself is going to sally forth in like a big crusade, it's still going to be a Black Crusade.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think there
are
be
other Black Crusades.
Absolutely.
These are just Abaddon's ones. So
we didn't talk about all the ones that Abaddon wasn't a part of.
Yeah.
Like even like Dorn dies during one of them, right? Like some big stuff happens. Like Angron does some massive Black Crusades.
Yeah.
And the 13th prophecy was the last prophecy about
That's
it.
what I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe it's
or
not.
do you think they'll write more?
Maybe they add more. I hope they end it. I hope like they end the prophetic cycle in the Crimson Path, and it's kind of the culmination, and it starts anew.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't be bad if Abaddon, like after the 13th, feels listless, directionless. Like he spent 10,000 years following these prophecies and the Crimson Path, and now he's like, what's my purpose?
And now he's just raiding random planets, doing random things.
Yeah,
like,
but it's in like a despair for him. It's kind of how like there's a bleakness covering
he's
him.
almost even looking like, oh, maybe if I go to this planet, like I'll find the next prophecy to lead me. Like,
yeah. I view as like it's a crutch. For him, and so it would be kind of cool if like he's trying to find his next purpose, and it like he's desperately hoping for some prophecy to take a hold of him.
Yeah, so now he goes around the galaxy going just to like major battles because it's like maybe here's where my destiny actually lies, something like that. I like that more than them doing like a 14th because like we said in the last episode, the only outcome of a 14th is a crusade against Terra itself. Anything else won't matter. But you can't do a crusade against Terra.
Yeah.
Like
It's true.
So I like that, like, because then he shows up at like Vigilus because he thinks it's going to be an important event and it's going to actually provide some type of insight into
Exactly. He's like, Calgar is here. Like, this is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not. Like,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
that like is unfulfilling for him.
Yeah, because ultimately he doesn't need Vigilus. Why would he need
No,
Vigilus?
he
Like,
doesn't
it's
give a crap.
Yeah. It's a stable way through the warp. Why does Abaddon care about that?
He just binds a demon into his ship.
yeah, like,
Right?
yeah. So it's kind of cool to think that. Now he's kind of just like trying to find his next purpose.
I am also a big fan of like lost characters. Like even the stories I write are all like people who are suffering from like massive despair and lack of vision, and like I really like that aspect.
Yeah.
Of like story.
Sure.
So it's really cool to me to think about this. Like he was on the top of the world, on top of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And now he's got nothing. And it's the dichotomy of like from what you held to what you are now. How do you bring yourself out?
Yeah.
What's it going to take? What are you willing to sacrifice to like leave where you are and gain something new? And I just like using plots like that is so cool for me. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else on that point, or?
I think I'm done there.
Okay. So the next one is the meme of Abaddon and how dumb bitches be dumb.
Ugh.
This meme's got to stop about Abaddon.
Yeah. I mean, in true meme fashion.
All memes got to stop.
No.
Fucking memes.
No.
Unless they're
You
true.
yeet that knowledge out of here. You get out of here.
No, it's just funny. So we post stuff about Abaddon, and you just get flooded with fucking memes about how he's a failure. It's like, no, man. Like,
Abaddon is so good.
yeah, he's fucking crazy.
Well, what's hilarious too is that like, so someone was we posted a thing about how he took, it was in our post about releasing the first episode of this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, in the most successful campaigns that have ever like happened.
Yeah.
And someone was like, only took him 13 tries.
Yeah, it's just like, you
and I was like,
fucking
that's
idiot.
not how it went. Like
all of these battles,
and then,
like.
And then he's like, oh, sorry, I've actually never read about the Crusades.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's
well,
like-
why don't you fucking learn about it
Before you start
you
fucking
meme?
memeing. So the
God.
memes got to end because
Ugh.
they're so inaccurate. So
It's very inaccurate.
Here's where the meme started, and I get it. So for the vast majority of Abaddon's history, like really up until 5 years ago.
For the game,
Yeah.
the 13th Crusade has been alive since the game began and been
Yeah.
changing and altered.
Yeah, and that's
right?
the one thing. So like, and a lot of the older
So for 30
Crusades-
years, he has been a failure.
Yes. And it doesn't seem like he's done much. He's done Black Crusades and he's destroyed planets in the Black Crusade, but they
But
didn't have any
ooh.
real purpose. Well, now they retconned a bunch of it and they actually made it so each Crusade, or as much as possible, kind of actually
It has a flow.
Yeah, you know, it was destroying Blackstone. It was getting relics.
He was
all to-
learning about how Blackstone works.
Yeah.
He's gaining the Eye of Night and the Hand of Darkness.
Yeah,
and
so only
he's
two
going
of
to
them.
Medusa.
Only two of them, and even after the prophecy, really only one of them is a failure, and that's the 11th,
The 11th,
one,
yeah.
where he just got flung out at the opposite end of the
And
galaxy.
learned about Wog energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he's good. He's done crazy things. He's
Abaddon
not
is
a failure.
an amazing general.
Yeah. The other one is Abaddon the Armless. So the way this meme comes about is he used to have an old metal model, and the arms were notoriously bad for falling off. Like anytime.
Well, they're so heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's got a new model, so don't fucking say Abaddon the Armless. He's got one of the best models in the game now.
We're going to
so-
get flooded with memes.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
After this.
Don't invite bad things, or don't tell people to stop. and then-
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna.
But yeah, like okay,
get
if you're
memes are
gonna
fun.
if you're gonna meme him,
Yeah.
do it ironically. If you understand of like who he is and what he's done, then you're like, geez, like the meme doesn't make sense, but it's still fun to meme. Sure.
I like memes that make sense and
Yeah.
actually have basis.
Yeah, but like
I
just
like the Abaddon
still,
memes when they made sense.
It was the one guy who was like only took him 13 tries, and then he's like, I never actually have, I have no idea.
Call him out, fucking
Yeah,
Cheeto Lover 42.
at Chord General whatever, like who knows? Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was just like don't at me, you know? Don't at me, you dumb.
You plebe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learn.
Yeah. So that's my rant.
Yeah, memes.
Memes.
Fucking love them.
So the final point we're going to talk about, and this is things we wish would happen more during the Crusades.
Oh, okay.
Really, I didn't read these prophecies before because there was a couple.
Well, I put them
there.
all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so I wrote this question before.
Sure.
Because I was going to say, like, some of them just don't make any sense, like Medusa. But then...
You're right. Medusa
when you
doesn't
have the
make
prophecy,
sense.
it makes sense. So I would have liked every Crusade to actually make sense. But they actually kind of all do once you include every little tidbit of information.
If you view it as a prophetic... So the reason why I don't think the prophetic is canon, because those could be written after.
Oh, sure.
They could be describing what he did and not a prophecy. Because I was honestly, it's really tough to try and find those quotes in the Liber Kiyotaka.
Sure.
It's not quoted at what page it is, and that book is like 500 pages. And I was like, well, I'm not reading the whole thing tonight to try and learn where all these are.
Yeah.
So the 13th one definitely speaks as a prophecy.
Yeah.
13 times shall the Traitor King go forth.
Yeah.
In the end times, the iron fortress shall be cast down. It's speaking about things that are yet to come.
Yeah, I think most of them
tense.
have future tense.
The seventh one, it says, for the seventh time he came as shadow. Like, you can still use past tense when talking about prophecy.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Most of
But-
them are in future tense.
Yes,
so.
but I'm saying you could make the argument that it's like a ballad describing his journey after,
Sure.
as
Yeah, yeah.
opposed to actual prophecy.
Yeah.
And I'm
Or like
okay
a
with
poem of
either.
some kind or something.
Yeah, I'm okay with either. I definitely prefer the prophetic
Yeah.
aspect.
It explains the story a little better.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but like at that point, like I wish I had the entire prophecy, like the Liber Malefact.
Yeah.
I would love to read that book, but I'm also a sucker for like chaos stuff.
You like your dark rituals, for
Yeah.
sure.
You like sacrificing goats.
I do. Well, yes.
It's kind of a mess, but
Yeah. Once it just becomes a habit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything really. Like, I think it would obviously be cool if, like, every crusade had, like,
Its own.
a little something,
Yeah.
like, more clear, maybe. Because there's a couple where it's like the Ghost War, we can assume what he was doing, but it wasn't necessarily clear. But
That's
it's
very
also
true,
kind of
yeah.
cool that it is not, like...
Well, I was also going to say, like, so the 10th one,
Yeah.
the prophecy is, at Medusa's walls, the iron guard will break.
Yeah.
And imagine Abaddon reading that, and he's like, no, like, what a dumb...
Yeah.
Like, we can't... Like, there's no reason to go to Medusa.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of him not even knowing why he's there. And even in the Ghost War, he's like, fuck, like, it's a Ghost War? Like,
Yeah.
how do I interpret that to be reality? Like, the Ghost War could have been fought very differently.
Yeah.
Like, when you and I both read, he came as shadow, like, we would probably think of different strategies and ways to implement being a shadow.
Sure.
And so that was
I'm spray
Abaddon's...
painting myself black.
Exactly. That's Abaddon's interpretation of what it means to be a shadow.
Yeah.
Is to fight that war.
Yeah.
By spreading out. So it's kind of interesting to think, like, how did he interpret these and then act upon them?
Sure.
So I'm also okay with it not explaining everything.
Yeah,
Like that
yeah.
whole like Medusa's wall. Like, I'm okay with it being that, and Abaddon just trying to make the best
Yeah.
of it that he can.
Yeah. It's cool. I like it. I like that they did what they've done. All of it's good except for the fucking Fall Acadia part.
the Fall Acadia is tough.
some mad rambling. But it's a cool
tough.
outcome still. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's...
Yeah,
all I got to
that's
say.
I think that's the episode.
Yeah. We did
Cool.
it.
Wow, that's Abaddon and his Black Crusades.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
a
other.
two-parter.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was. We're going through it, and we're like,
are you gonna do a 5-hour episode or something?
yeah, we're like, oh, we can put it in
God.
one. And then we're like, we can't put it in one.
No.
Yeah.
Especially since, like, even the 12th, like, we dumbed that down or the 13th, I mean, we dumbed that down so much.
Oh yeah, us doing that little bit in the Fall of Cadia probably shaved 40 minutes.
Easily.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Because
just-
there's
it's-
so much details, like,
Oh.
literally, and then these guys show up, and then these, and it's just
Yeah.
like, it's wild.
Like, it's
But-
not bad stuff to know. I guess we should have prefaced that, like, before we started that. Like, there is much more that happens in the 13th Black Crusade.
Yeah.
But honestly, we're trying to pick out the important parts and the parts that swing battles. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to know the 50 million people, Chaos Cultists, that Celestine killed.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need to know that. Like, you don't need to know, like, why Trazim was on Cadia, because honestly, that's a shitty plot device that they used initially.
Yeah.
Like, just to put him there. It's
bad.
it wasn't great.
Anyways.
We did the best that we thought we could with it by turning it into a joke. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, that's it. Thanks for listening. Join our Patreon. It honestly
Yeah.
does a lot for us.
Check out the Liber Malefact project.
Check that out.
Yeah. Join us on our Discord, our Facebook, our Instagram.
Are we on Twitter?
We are.
Join our Hot Topic page.
MySpace.
MySpace.
We have what's that? Neopets.
We got Neopets.
We got
going.
Neopets.
Club Penguin.
That's
Bring that
right.
back so we can get on that.
Roblox.
5-star rating and review if you haven't already.
Yeah, you better.
All that stuff.
We're watching.
Yeah. But the big one's PayPal or Patreon. Join our Patreon. Give us your money, please. It means a lot. Helps a lot.
Thanks for coming, guys, and we'll see you next week on Lorehammer.
Peace.